webs.
Oh, are we firing out?
Yeah.
We got it going out. Fantastic. That is cool. Hey, guys, welcome to the Cleveland Moto Podcast, episode number 493. Light 'em up, boys. I'm not holding nothing today, man.
Already lit.
Caught me doing ministerial tasks with my stuff. And my goodness. We have got a full slate today. We're going to try to keep it to a nice tight 2 hours. It's been working great for us. We got a full house in the room tonight. To my immediate left, we have
Sean Noel.
And to his left,
Dan Krupke.
and to his left,
Steve Sleepy.
and to his left,
Johnny McAtack.
and to his,
Speedy Pete.
and
Chris Smith.
and behind the bar today,
Tom Pennington.
and Phil Waters, your humble narrator. We're going to talk about all things motorcycle today because it's a shitty day in Cleveland. We've been dealing with salt and snow and ice and more ice and snow and salt and cold temperatures and frozen pipes and all that crap. We are definitely living Cleveland at the moment. There is no doubt about it that if you want the full Cleveland Moto experience, you come here in the wintertime and you'll realize why we fucking don't like it very much.
And we've had an exorbitant amount of snow the last couple of days or a week or so.
I like the snow. People don't like. I'm like, if it's going to be winter and it's going to be cold, I'd rather it be white.
Absolutely.
A little bit of white snow
And
keeps everything from being so dull and.
After 20 years of no snow, I'm like, this is fine. This is fun. I'm sure I'll
you
get
got there?
tired of it eventually.
Oh my!
I mean,
goodness.
it's my winter sport is snow removal.
Yeah.
You know, like I do it at work. I do it when I get home.
I'm still having fun with my new snowblower.
You have a snowblower.
Yeah.
Yay!
You don't buy them now. You buy them in the spring.
Oh yeah. No, this was a total fluke purchase. Like Becky was like done with not having one because she has one at the house at her place that I fixed a while ago, and she's like, "All right, your driveway sucks and it's longer than mine is. You have to have one." So we found one for $125 or something on Marketplace. Dude's like, "Yeah, I fix them. I get them, fix them up, and sell them cheap."
I've had probably 20 snowblowers, and I've never bought one of them.
I just didn't know it was the thing you could buy.
Yeah.
I see them out in front of Home Depot occasionally.
Well, you told me you were like, yeah, eventually somebody's just going to bring one in to fix, and I kept waiting, and I was like, well.
No, you didn't do the first part of the job.
Oh.
The first part of the job is you go on Craigslist.
Yeah.
It's free.
True.
And you put a little ad that says, "Will fix snowblower, snowblower repair." That's all you do. You put it up, and they will beat a path to your fucking door. And then when they show up at your door, you look at the thing, and we all know that what they need.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we all know what they need, and so you call the person that dropped it off, and you say, "This needs $250 worth of work." And the third person that you call and tell that to, depending on how much it's snowing out, I recommend when it's not snowing.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Oh, just fucking keep it," and you'll go, "I will just keep it," and then you'll buy the $30 carburetor, and you'll fix it. And you will now have a snowblower. That's how I have 3 snowblowers.
And they'll go buy another one, and the cycle continues.
Which is what they were going to do anyway.
Yeah.
Right. They made one heroic attempt. And if you're super slick, you say, "I'll pick it up for $50 or $100 or $125." And then you pick it up. They pay you for the pickup. But now it's there. It's going to be $250 to fix it. Oh, keep it. Well, now you just made money and you got a snowblower.
Or you could live. When I lived in Cleveland Heights,
Yeah.
the rich neighborhood next to us, University Circle with the big houses. If you hit right after winter when it didn't snow,
Yeah.
they'd just be on the tree lawns.
Yep.
Like I really went up to it. I got a brand new Troy built, like the big 1200 one, the whole self-driving whole deal. Guy's like, "Yeah, it never worked. If you want it," and I was on my scooter, so I was like, "Well, can I put it on the side of your house and come back?" He's like, "Yeah, I get the trailer." I think he walks out with a weed whacker. He's like, "This stupid thing never worked either," and threw it in the back.
Oh my
They
gosh.
both didn't even. I took the float bowls off. I literally sprayed air into them and put them back together, and they started right up with no issues at all.
I finally got my neighbor trained. He's learned the secret. I've got him hooked on snowblowing as therapy because he's got 2 young children. He just had, and so he comes out now with his air pads on. He's like, "Can I fire up the beast and go snowblowing?" I'm like, "You sure can. I already put gas in it." And
it's
everything.
ready.
So now he's taken over my job of snowblowing the whole fucking neighborhood. And I just, I'm like, hey, there you go. I'll keep it running. For
Would you like some warm boots too?
Yeah, then I had to,
Solid public service.
I'll leave a pair of Sorels right by the machine.
Yeah, then I had that, then he hits a newspaper and sucks it up, so I had to show him how to, you're going to have to dig that out of there. And then he hit his doormat, which had all this wire, and it was like, fuck.
Oh, fucking hell, dude. He's got to slow down.
There's a learning curve.
Yeah,
See, I do a little different strategy. I buy my snowblower like in the spring.
Yes.
Like within a week, they're going to put them away for the year.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's already put together. You got to check everything.
The floor model.
Right, but it's all put together. Mine has heated grips, so that's like a big win.
Dan's has a seat on it. It pulls him around the yard. It has a little drink holder.
I bet you didn't know that right now, today, this very moment, you can go buy a snowblower, that has fuel injection.
Yeah.
They have that now.
really?
That's a thing you can buy. They have that.
Who makes
the
it?
biggest, baddest
Husqvarna
ass-
makes one, and so does the Cub Cadet. So they
So
both
that
make
has to have a battery.
It does. It also has heated grips. It also has electric start. It also has various different types of
Saddlebags.
lighting, saddlebags,
yeah.
and laser guided precision.
That's the sport touring model, by the way.
We have the biggest, baddest Honda at work with tracks and
Those are
it's-
badass.
It is ridiculous. It's almost a little much.
My life goal.
I could swear I've seen this thing driving through the Alps clearing roads before.
My life goal is 3-stage. So once I broke my cherry and got into the 2-stage, I was like, "This is living." And then once you break that and you go to 3-stage, then my friend, you have arrived. Yeah. Once you get to the 3rd stage,
My Aaron will literally pump slush.
Yeah.
It'll throw. It was just like.
but I am now the cobbler's son
Yeah.
because my home unit, the smaller home unit, the one that's Avon Lake rated for once a year, twice a year, that one, the new carburetor I put on it 3 years ago. Bad gas in it too long. No, not good. Didn't use enough last year. So that failed me the other day, even using the extension cord electric start. Fuck that. And then I ripped the string off the heavy-duty shop implement because I didn't want to go all the way back to where the cord was to plug it in, to hit the electric starter there. I kept pulling the rope. And one of my former mechanics, Sparky, apparently needs to go back to Boy Scout school to learn how to tie a goddamn knot. So the knot that you tie at the end of the rope that you pull to start the machine should be the best knot you've ever tied in your life. That should be like vasectomy umbilical cord knot.
So it didn't break the rope. The rope just got sucked into
That's
it.
correct.
Okay,
Just
that
pulled
that
through the
makes
hole.
more sense.
That's all that happened.
So what are you
Pulled through
doing
the
with
hole.
that? You ready to get rid of it? You mind if I stop by?
You mind taking a look at me?
I can either fix it for you for $250 or I'll pick it up for $50.
So you know what happens is now you got to be a little more slow. You got to be a little more careful that you don't choke it out so it doesn't stall. So you get to be more in the zen. But I've got to use that cocksucker twice in the past week.
Oh yeah.
And made the parking lot look like the
Let
desert.
it do the work. Don't
And
fight
where,
it.
where do we learn these snowblower maintenance skills, kids? From riding a Thompson-powered mini bike when a kid. It's the same thing. You know?
Cleveland Snow Moto, is it?
Cleveland Snow Moto. That's exactly right. But
I've been up to my ass in dirty carburetors my whole life. So
yes, it ain't nothing new about it. Especially
go-karts, mini bikes. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
everything. Pull start. Yeah.
if you go back to the 10-year-old version of me and tell them that for $13 each, I could never clean a carburetor ever again,
Yeah.
10-year-old version of me would call you a damn liar.
Yeah.
But when you can go down to, Home Desperate or Lowe's or whatever, and you can actually buy that carburetor on a piece of, bubble cardstock, cut the thing open, lay it on, you're done. That thing works. It's good to go. But people will, meanwhile, they'll fiddle fuck around with 17 cans of starting fluid
Oh yeah.
and, trying to swamp out their whole world with carb cleaner. Meanwhile, it's $16, $17.
I no longer buy starting fluid. Only carb cleaner.
Only carb cleaner.
If it doesn't start, I pull the bowl off. I
Right.
clean it. I put it back together.
Waste of time. Done. Look at the starting fluid is good for finding out where your bad seals are. You spray some spray some starting fluid around, and shit just starts running magnificently. You know where you got an air leak. You just found the air leak.
Yeah.
Just go to find it. That's where it is. I promise you.
Also, keep in mind it is very, very flammable.
It's super flammable. Hence the
that?
term wolf juice.
Well, the other thing is instead of starting fluid, I bought those little. They're like lab beaker things, squirter things, and I just fill them with gasoline, and it's like perfect. And then you're just feeding it gasoline. Or if
Absolutely.
it's a two-stroke, you can feed it two-stroke oil and stuff.
Totally. So, so you guys, we are We are live on YouTube for those who want, those who celebrate, those who observe. So you can chat at us. Please chat at us. We got somebody here reading the chats. But I have got a gift from one of our Patreons. So, Cole Bass. By the way, good name. 4 letters first name, 4 letters last name. Cole Bass. Cole Bass from Bass Speed and Machine saw fit to send us a gift box. And let me show you what's in the box.
Is it ticking?
Oh, no, my friend. It is not ticking.
Wires protruding.
It's not a lump of coal, is it?
It wouldn't sound like this if it wasn't a real
It is kind of tinking.
box
You
of
broke
gifts.
it.
Okay. So, Cole Bass. He sent a letter as well. So we have a letter. I will read you on this fine piece of yellow legal parchment, shrunk down to 1/3 scale. Okay. Greetings, fellow motorcycle enthusiasts. Top-notch podcast. My listening time is usually when there is a lot of background noise. So the consistent audio level is a surprise. I've acquired some treats for you guys in my recent travels. As a thank you and a self-plug of my YouTube channel, Bass Speed and Machine. That's right. It's Bass Speed and Machine. Look it up. It's awesome. Thanks again, and keep up the good work. Fellow motorcycle collector / hoarder, Cole Bass. P.S. Made the plate a while back and figured I better send it before the logo changes. Wait a second.
Where's home base for Cole Bass?
Cole Bass and Machine. I would have to look at the side of the box to tell you. Give me a second. Fuck me running. Halstead, Kansas.
Oh, way. Right on.
Jayhawk.
Heartland out there.
Fucking
man.
Jayhawk. Well, I think I just cut myself, so I'll need the Bucky's sterile bandages. That's Bucky's sterile. You can pass those around. Check them out. Those are Beaver approved.
John has stock in those. I
Okay.
think, someplace.
How about some Bucky's cherry maple beef jerky?
Beaver jerky.
All right.
Put that around. I'll be hitting that up later.
Love it.
Bucky's Korean barbecue jerky. This one was broken. It was already open when I opened the pack. No, it wasn't. I opened it myself. All right.
I was going to say, that's going to slow me down.
I didn't even know Bucky's had nuggies, but these are Bucky's bold and spicy Bucky nuggies.
That's like one of their signature items, I believe.
By the way, please.
You and Renee have been diving into this all weekend.
I have been snacking. So
Say,
please,
this one's already
I
open.
think I have to try these.
please, watch the plastic noises, please. Okay. Bucky's bite-sized chocolate peanut butter cookies.
Oh, wow. They're not going to make it past Johnny Mac.
That's the sound of actual cholesterol.
And since there's not actually a dessert this evening.
Yeah,
Only,
Tom cooked tonight, so there's no dessert.
There's no dessert, so that's perfect.
Okay. Well, we got that covered. How about prickly ash bitters?
What?
Oh.
Prickly ash bitters.
What?
Fucking bitters, baby. Bitters. And I haven't had my cocktail yet today, so I'm going to have my bitters for later on. But wait a second. It gets better. Boot Hill Distillery's Red Eye Whiskey.
All right.
Wow.
Bigger than an airplane bottle,
careful.
I swear. Okay.
Man,
Another bottle, a bottle of White Boot Hill Distillery's white whiskey.
I didn't know a guy could stuff his box this full.
He went to the Renee School of Box Stuffing.
Yeah.
We don't even have to get up to make a cocktail.
No, I'm gonna. We got a Boot Hill wheat whiskey.
Ooh, I like wheated rice.
Rachon.
Here, Mac,
And
right
then
behind you.
We got a bunch of stickers. We had a bunch of stickers with a very angry pussy on it. Bass Speed and Machine.
Wow.
Right? I got stickers. Yeah, I got stickers.
Cute.
You got stickers.
We're
You
gonna.
got stickers.
I mean, we do have the new fridge we could sticker, I guess.
We've got all the parts that your car will ever need.
It's the Rock Auto magnet.
Oh, Rock Auto.
well, because
Sorry,
that's a Rock Auto box.
tape on the box. Yeah, I think we know that. But here it is. The Coupe de Gracie. The finishing blow.
The Coupe de Gracie.
Wasn't that a school?
Whoa.
All right.
A fine piece of true Saskatchewan billet aluminium steel
Metal.
made into metal. Gorgeous end mill work, by the
That's
way.
cool. Yeah.
Pass
Yeah.
that shit around. Gorgeous mill work.
It's like
gorgeous
Boba
mill
Fett's
work.
armor.
Yeah, that is armor. That is good.
That was a best car?
Beskar, yes. Yes.
That is the finest Beskar. Yes, that's good. That's your trauma plate.
Wow.
Yeah. When that 762 is trying to come on through, that'll save your life someday.
Yeah.
A bonus thanks from me on that one because I actually have not been to a Buc-ee's yet. So
Oh, you
this,
haven't?
This
So-
gives me a little taste of Buc-ee's before whenever the big show
Before
is. I guess.
diving in too deep.
But
Very
yeah.
nice.
So coal base. I mean, in case you don't know, how to occupy a group of idiots
That'd be great if that went all the way
for a
through.
solid.
There's
You could use it
totally a
as a template
Bieber
and
joke
tag
here
that.
There-
that I'd make.
Well,
but
on my side, we call it bussies instead. You know.
I just wonder where's the localist Buc-ee's compared to.
He said he was on
Halls?
his travels.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
So he must have been down south somewhere.
well, there's one over in Missouri. I know, by Springfield, Missouri.
that's probably where
they
he
are
was.
they are kind
Who
of
was this again?
expanding.
That name I didn't catch.
This is coal base.
Thank you, Cole Base.
Yeah,
Coal
thanks much.
You're pretty
base.
cool.
This is awesome. And I will put our listeners up against the listeners of any other podcast any day in the week for their machinery, their craftiness, and their just general bribeability.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate
We
that.
can be bribed.
The understanding of the way the system works. It's a transactional relationship around here.
You give, we take.
And that being said, sign up for the Patreon. It's cheap. It is really cheap. And if you like to see what we do, we were able to take our trip to the AIM Expo and really have a good time because of our podcast listeners, because of our Patreons.
I am truly thankful for our Patreon.
Yeah, that was
For the
beyond-
for the
Very much
people
so.
for the people who want to get the punchlines,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's a dry ass podcast.
I mean, they.
What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? A hippo is really heavy. A Zippo is a little lighter.
Only available $10 and above.
Also, we want to know. Well, I'm sorry. John and Carter both want to know what songs they should start working on for the AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days Jam Sessions.
It's coming.
So we're
I
going to
started
work on that.
researching. I was trying to figure that out. I mean, I've had some ideas and stuff that I've been playing. I don't know. I got to get together. Like, we need a consensus. I did a quick search on motorcycle songs. You know what I mean? Like, there's lots of those, but I don't know. You know.
Well, I feel like the first one is a given. They have to learn Sleepy's song about Mid-Ohio. That is a given.
One of the best.
I'll
We should
do
put.
another
We'll put a
version
link
of
into that.
We'll do a new version of it.
Yeah, but what good bones it's got.
Yeah.
What a good bass.
So that's your first.
That house has a good basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. And we'll sit around with our 3-string and 2-string and 1-string guitars, and we'll learn how to play a song. That's what
Jimi
we'll do.
Hendrix played a guitar with one string for 2 years. That was how he started.
You ever
playing.
That's how
see
he
the
learned.
video of him counting frets?
No.
Dude, it's crazy. I never noticed it until you notice it, and then you can't unnotice it. When he's about to start a song, he'll be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, is that just a muscle memory thing?
No, like he was counting up to make sure he was in the right key. Like he knew, like key at A would be like 5 frets up, so he goes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
But it's just like you think a dude like that.
I would assume.
I'm not that dude, and I can go. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying.
Dude, how high was he when he was counting?
Like every
Then
time
again,
he played, I guess.
then again, it's still not, yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away
not
from
a
him.
difference
This
between
dude's
you
a
and
fucking genius. Don't get me, I'm not stepping on that at all. I'm just saying it's really interesting when you see that video and he's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm interested in what John and what was it, what those two guys play though. They should have. I don't know what music.
John and Carter. That's father-son. Father-son relationship. Yeah. So I
They're
think
playing
that's really cool.
guitars, or what are they playing?
I would assume they're playing guitar. But
Bagpipes.
Well, if it's got strings and it's made out of wood or plastic
Bring it.
or
We
a
almost need a
kazoo.
drum
Kazoos.
set. We need a drum.
We don't need a drum set. Get a
No.
5-gallon pickle bucket.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, we're good.
We got look. I'm going to tell
jug.
you. I've been to our AMA Vintage Days. I've been to the FEMA camp that we call home, and I'm going to tell you there are a lot of people there that are just looking to bang on something.
Yeah.
Anything.
Or someone or some, yeah.
No shortage. No shortage of people there wanting to bang on shit. It is all. No, it's okay. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna save some of those because I don't
Yeah,
like
don't
to.
eat them all,
I don't like to
Dan.
talk with food in my mouth. And that's what we do. So it is a thing that our boys that were here, that were over at the AIM Expo, know that I spent an undue amount of time in a Moto Morini sponsored booth at the AIM Expo in Las Vegas. Kind of a lot of time.
Extensive time.
An extensive amount of time. So long that they were able to slide their slippery fingers into my wallet.
In other places, probably.
I was going to say.
Flesh wallet.
May have gotten a little greased there. Yeah, for real. And that is one of those things that that I just kind of wanted to to kind of go into about Morini, because I'm going to promise you that I was wrong. Let's just, for the sake of fun here today, let's say Moto Morini. Can anybody at this table tell me what year Moto Morini started? John, your hand is up.
1939.
7.
Sleepy's right.
Oh.
1937. And Chris McGee in the booth.
I thought he said 1939.
Son of Mary McGee was very good at saying we started in 1937 in Italy, which was a tough time.
So what they had this, the only reason my brain remembered that, believe me, the only reason is because they nailed their slogan. It was like Moto Morini, Italia, 1937. Like
Del 1937.
Yeah,
Italia, Del 1937.
that was it.
Yeah, that's exactly
all you
right.
heard. You turn a corner, somebody else would tell you, and then you turn this corner.
They
and
had
then-
that wrapped down
Yeah.
to a fucking patter. They were really good at that. So, 1937. That's good. Now, anybody remember, you're going to show your age and your fucking perversion level, like how fucked up you are, like in the world of motorcycles, how deep you are into world of motorcycles. Do you know when they sold Moto Morini motorcycles in the United States? Anyone? Just throw a fucking number out.
I want to say the 60s. I've
Late
seen the
60s,
little
early
tiny,
70s?
like the tiny little.
When do you think they stopped?
The 60s.
They never did.
They didn't make it to the 80s, did they?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, they did?
Did they really?
They did.
Wow.
They did. Okay, so when do you think Moto Morini as a whole took a financially sponsored time out from the world of building motorcycles? Do you think that they were closed down for a long time? Do you think that there was a period of years that went by where Moto Morini was a place you didn't go to work in the morning?
Probably several.
Okay, and when do you think that might have been?
90s?
Until now.
All right.
Like recently.
Yeah.
Because when they first dropped that first adventure bike, it was a few years ago, or maybe 5 or 6 years ago at ECMA.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's when everybody was like, okay, what is going on here?
What's
Like,
going on?
They opened people's eyes with that bike.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. So we're gonna go. I got this down to a science, guys. It's gonna take us 29 minutes. I have done a fucking shit ton of research, and I promise you, I've gone to various sources, because anybody can just go cut and paste a rider.com article and find out how lazy the journalist was that wrote that cocksucker, because it turns out there's a lot of really, really wrong information about Moto Morini out there. Well, here's the news for you. They never stopped.
In the U.S. or worldwide? You're talking
Worldwide.
Okay.
Worldwide. Ownership changed hands. As with all companies, ownership changed and moved around a little bit. But the weirdest thing is they kind of went through these times where we're like, I don't think they're doing anything. They were doing stuff. Just a question of who was paying the bills or who was not paying the bills, which is more accurate. Okay, here's the deal. 1898. I'm going to do this timeline style for people that are playing at home. Alfonso Morini, that's his real name, born in Bologna, Italy, gets hired at 13 years old to work at a farm equipment repair shop. I love it when people start their careers early. 13 years old, farm equipment repair shop. 1914, a couple of years later, 3 years later of him working in the farm equipment repair shop, he's 16 years old now, says, I got this. I only want to work on motors. Internal combustion engines, infernal combustion engines, were a very new thing in that part of the world, and that part of the timeline. We're talking about Bologna, Italy, okay? He sets up his own shop, not to work on the rest of the shit, just to work on the motors. He's going to specialize on just the motors. Got bad news for you, though. World War I just started. His timing was not great, okay? World War I just started. He's 16 years old.
Whoa, really?
So what he does is he joins the army.
Yeah, draft age.
Exactly. Right. It's 1915. What the fuck are you going to do? You're 16 years old. Go to war. Talk to my grandfather about that. Right? He joins the Italian army as part of the 8th motorcycle unit out of Padua. Sleepy, go ahead and throw up to the screen so the people at home can see a picture of what the 8th motorcycle unit looked like out of Padua. So that is what they're riding, multi-cylindered machines. And you'll notice that not many of the machines match each other because they didn't have like, oh, we're going to go get a contract with one motorcycle manufacturer. No, we're going to fucking war. Grab what you got. Slap some paint on there and let's make it military. And that's exactly what they did. That's what a World War I motorcycle division looked like in Italy. Nothing matched.
And it's an 8-man division.
It was fucking, numbers were not big. We're going to get into that a little bit. And for the people, I'm going to put show notes up that have the eBay link or the links to all the photographs and stuff too. Okay, so he does that. So 1915, he's 16, 17 years old, and he's straight up riding a motorcycle at war. That's cool. I'm not that hard. Okay, 1925, after the war, Morini got back to working on motors. That's what he did. Somebody saw that he was pretty good at it. The guy's name was Mauro Mazzetti. That name's going to come in, MM, that's going to be important later. He asked Morini to build a single-cylinder 125 two-stroke racing bike and to race it as well. The two joined forces under the brand name MM, and they won renown. Morini's MM125 bike took 6 goddamn world records at the Monza Grand Prix of Nations, and their 175cc bike set a world speed record of over 162 kilometers per hour. Go ahead, Chris.
What were the approximate sizes if he was on a 175? What would have been a typical size back then?
That would have probably been the fastest fucking bike you could buy.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it set a world speed record. So when you set a world speed record, you're probably riding the hottest shits out there. And because, again, 1925, what are you up against? Right? Yeah. Well, you know, your bike might have 7 horsepower. The other guy's bike has 2. Right? So cool picture if you want to pull it up of him literally winning a world record. So not bad when a guy's winning a world record. I love the safety equipment. His sleeves are rolled up. Pretty cool.
Safety squints.
He is wearing a sweater.
That's 100 miles an hour. 160.
It's 162. It's 100 miles an hour on a 175 two-stroke in 1925. Not too shabby.
He's got the race tires on it, though, right?
The white. And I had to do a lot of research to make sure I had the right picture because in 1928, they didn't use white tires anymore. They went to the black-colored tires. So the bikes that were prior to that, you had decided to go through a bunch of pictures to find the right one because they were falsely attributed by different sources. Okay, 1937. He decides he wants to leave MM. He got bought out. He literally took a buyout to leave. He got 24,000 lira, which is probably $88. No shit, a box of compasses and a used race bike, which he immediately sold. He signed a contract with MM to agree not to sell any more motorcycles. He started his new company called Moto Morini with the intention of selling 3-wheeled trucks, which were very popular in Italy with businesses due to the fact that these 3-wheeled trucks, which were a motorcycle with a flatbed on the back of it, cost less, there was no special licensing required, and they saved money on taxes. He built 350cc and 500cc side valve engines, which he sold to other companies. He wasn't in violation of his contract. He wasn't building motorcycles. He's building these 3-wheeled trucks. And these 3-wheeled trucks are kind of badass. If you want to pull that up, Sleepy, and take a look at one of these things.
They're still using those in Morocco.
They really.
Chris and I saw them.
And they made them in every kind of configuration you could ever imagine. But it's a motorcycle in the front, and it's a truck in the back. Shaft drive, too. I checked it out. It's kind of cool for 1937. You know, pretty neat. 39. He builds this M610, and this M610 truck he builds, everyone's using it. It's the most popular one. Everybody wants it. It's the biggest motor you can buy of a 3-wheeler to go out there. I don't know who's singing along, but the... all right.
I think it's Dan providing background.
He's got shaft drive. He's got dry sump lubrication. He's got a separate gearbox. And then 1939, what happened? World War II. This guy can't catch a break. Every time he makes $1, somebody decides they're going to have an invasion.
It wasn't just him; it was all of Europe at that time.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think he kind of got bum rushed into it.
I think he did. I don't think this was his choice. But you know, keep in mind that at this point, he's 41 years old. Okay, so he's
still draft eligible.
Yeah.
You take what you can get, right? So guess what he starts building? Well, shit for the Italian military, because if you have a factory, your factory is now building things for the war effort. That's the way war efforts go. So he does that quite successfully for the Italian military until 1943, when the United States American Army Air Corps flattened his factory.
Oops.
Yeah, do some research sometime and see like where the most bombs were dropped in Europe during World War II, and our Army Air Corps wins the fucking trophy for dropping bombs on Italy. We did. Monte Cassino, we flattened that shit. Like everything that was cool in Italy got a bomb dropped on it. We were very fucking spendy with the ammunition when it came to Italy. So yeah, we flattened his factory. 1945. He goes back to work. He sets up a new factory 2 miles away from his original wooden workshop in Bologna. And he puts a T125 into production. Very basic, very simple. I love my post-war motorcycle historians will know about DKW. And they'll know that DKW set the world alight with their 125cc bike that everybody that had a grinder copied. You saw DKW, you were like, I can make one of those. I too can be a motorcycle company. And they did. 3-speed gearbox. Started selling bikes, but more importantly, remember, this guy's got 6 world records under his belt.
We're probably talking 2-strokes at the time. The DKW.
A mix. So this one is a 2-stroke. You take a look at the picture. You
His
see that it's
300
a
and 500s
piston ported.
were
That's
probably-
that's a 125 piston ported bike that back then did a whopping 45 miles per hour. Okay, but it got people moving. Remember, World War II was over. People needed to go to work in the morning.
Fuck of a lot faster than a bicycle.
It was fucking hell of a lot faster than a bicycle.
And people didn't have a family car at that time. The motorcycle was the family transportation. Post-war Europe.
It absolutely. And so this is a bike that he starts building, and he built a shit ton of them. And because it has 2 wheels and a motor, Alfonso's going to race the cocksucker. So he does. And he goes out and races it and does so pretty successfully. But then in 1949, the war's over. We got to do something to give people some reason to go to work in the morning or some reason to earn their money. They're going to be a world speed championship. Yes. Seems like a good thing to do. 1949, we got some shit laying around. The war's over. Alfonso gets to work and designs a 125 with a chain-driven overhead cam. Not too shabby. 12 horsepower at 10,000 RPM.
So Honda copied him.
Well, we're going to get to that. Moto Morini wins the World Speed Championship. That's 7 world records he's got under his belt on machines that he designed. I'm going to pull that up. The next slide's going to be important. 1949 looked really good for Moto Morini. And then in 1959, Mondial fucked him over. So Moto Mondial shows up with Streamliner. That's fully faired, dustbin fairing, all the good stuff. And he had a world championship for 1 year, Uno. So he got that, and then these dudes showed up. Now, some people called that cheating. Other people called it good design.
That's innovation.
That's innovation. That's going to force everyone else to be better. And it did.
I like the little whale in the paint job there.
It's pretty cool, man. If you look at the history of Mondial, like you look at that history of that company, we'll do a deep dive on that sometime too. But these guys were tooth and claw, fighting for world records, fighting for speed, trials. They were literally in competition, but not just for, trophies, but for selling bikes. Go ahead, Chris.
And all those companies were all post-World War II destruction and trying to claw their way back to whatever they could do. So hats off to them.
There wasn't a Bridgeport in this fucking county.
No.
Right? I mean,
Correct.
It was all blown up.
And think about this. I was just looking at this, and it looks like the very first Hayabusa. Like
It sure does.
literally, so there has to be some air tunnel, or they figured something out. Because,
Oh yeah, they used to have a huge air tunnel.
Because
Guzzi had
it's
the largest
crazy how
one.
much that looks like a Hayabusa from front to back. If you
Moto
think of the person in
Guzzi
it.
took a decommissioned bomber motor
Yeah.
Yeah.
and created a Venturi wind tunnel. We'll talk about it sometime.
They had the world's largest wind tunnel. It was at
And they would
Como.
rent it out because the Italian motorcycle industry was very generous to each other. They'd be like, "Oh, you want to come and use our wind tunnel? Come and use our wind tunnel. We'll buy parts from you this week. We'll buy parts from you this week. We're all gonna rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing." And that was a real deal until somebody's bike leaked a bunch of gasoline in that wind tunnel, and it literally fanned the flames that burned a man to death. Weird stuff, man. Any creepy history. So 1950, Mondial feeds Alphonse Morini his lunch. 1954.
And it was pasta, by the way.
It was always pasta. 1954, the revenge year. So to compete with the Mondials, And the new from MV Agusta, MV Agusta, they had twin cam bikes. They designed, Alphonse designs a new bike with a dual overhead cam, 175cc Rebello, the Rebel, which literally took not first, but first and second place at the Giro d'Italia, the race, the round trip of Italy. So take a look at that thing. That's pretty rad for 1954. By the way, this came the way you see it, but it also came with a full dustbin fairing like the Mondials. So this is a picture of the more naked version of that same bike. Okay, doing great 1954. He's got his finger on the pulse of motorcycle technology. 1961, they hired Giacomo Agostini. You may know that name.
Yeah.
Giacomo Agostini, one of my favorite racers in the world. They hire him. He is literally racing a used version of their 175 in a, show up, run what you brung class. They hire him. He's 19 years old. He shows up on his first race on a 125, not the big boys, not the big bikes, but a smaller bike. He's got to pay his dues, and takes second place in his very first race that he races for Moto Morini. Not too shabby, and the next year, at the bright old age of 20, he won the national championship on a Moto Morini. Things are looking pretty good for that guy. Pretty cool, and he's one of my favorite. This guy's a rock star. Giacomo Agostini is just one of my favorite patron saints of motorcycles. 1963, the launch of the four strokes. 1963, people who know their Honda history are going to know all about what happened in 1963. Yeah. Oh, that's a pretty bike, isn't it? Moto Morini launches hard in their four-stroke motors. Their twin cam 250 becomes the fastest 250cc single in the world. 37 horsepower at 12,000 RPM from one cylinder.
Sheesh.
Two carburetors, gear-driven cams, takes Giacomo Agostini to several world championships.
I wonder if it was a 4-valve.
So this is literally, yes. But there's a picture of the cams I didn't put in there, the gear-driven cams, but it is a 4-valve, and it is
twin carb. It's
fucking
4-valve.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. And the gear-driven cams is another thing too, where you're like, that's brilliant. It took the regular motorcycle industry fucking 30 more years to do that, 20 more years to do that. So 1965, guess what's not cool anymore? One cylinders. One cylinders are no longer cool in 1965. We're talking about very short times here, by the way. 1963 to 1965. You're top of the world in 1963. You're coming in fourth place in 1965. MV, Agusta, Ducati, and of course Honda with their four cylinders are making all the single-cylinder bikes obsolete. That is it. Moto Morini production had gotten to the point where they were building 10,000 bikes a year. It's not too shabby.
No.
Keep in mind, it's not too shabby. Moto Guzzi this year, 7,000 bikes. Okay?
Really?
Yep. So 10,000 bikes per year is pretty good, but they didn't have the money to compete with all the other teams that were out there that had better financial backing. So they had a busy race schedule. They were running an obsolete single-cylinder bike. Things were not cool for them. They did not like it. But it turns out America was open for business. So America was open for business. They go after the American market. And they did. But they had to change the name of their bikes for the American market. So they changed the name of their bikes. Unfortunately, the American market department said that the best name for a Moto Morini was the Thunder Chief. Or the Pirate. Or the Twister. I've included a picture of the Pirate. So you guys at home can see what a Pirate looks like. That's the Pirate. Yay! There's the Moto Morini Pirate. And a young pirate on it right there.
Zoom in a little bit.
We can zoom in, dude. We can open that image in a whole new tab, man. We can play that game. There you go.
A little close.
That's some marketing for you. Check out the Pirate.
John, that girl is like 6 weeks older than your daughter.
Yeah, that's a pirate.
Yeah,
she's
but-
probably dead by now.
Yeah, but now
Yeah,
that,
she is.
But keep in
She's
mind that is,
175 years old right
that
now.
is somebody's grandmother right there.
She is dusty.
Depends on how you look at it.
Yep.
But once you get past the smell.
You got
Oh,
licked.
no.
Oh man. So the market, we're talking about the American market, and the American market was something that everybody tried real hard to get into. I mean, everybody wanted it on the American market, and rightfully so. There's no reason not to. Let me go ahead and pop this back up again for us all at home so we can play along. All right. Now, we're getting in the 60s here, and shit happens real fast. Because in 1969, Alfonso dies. 74 years old. Not a bad life. A couple of world records under his belt. Several world championships. Thriving motorcycle company. Good news, his daughter, Gabriella, is not an idiot. She takes over the reins of the company. 1971, they hire Ferrari's designer, Franco Labertini. He's the V12 guy. Okay? He's got a pretty good fucking resume. And he goes over to Moto Morini. He develops the V-twin, the 72-degree V-twin 350 that we will know as the 3.5. The Moto Morini 3.5. 1971. It's 35 horsepower out of a V-twin. It is the most powerful and torquey motorcycle in the 1971 Milan Moto Show. That includes the Honda 350s. Torque. They launch a 500cc and a 250cc version of the same bike. They all come with electronic ignition and a 6-speed transmission in 1971. That's pretty fucking cool. And if you want to throw the picture up, they look good too. They're good-looking bikes. They sell a Strada, the street version, and they sell a Sport. The Sport version is the bottom one, the red-colored one. Of course, it would have to be red.
Yep.
Pretty cool-looking machines. And you see what you can do with one of those, because the race teams of the day loved that V-twin motor. Oh. And that is sex, by the way.
Yeah, I had a near miss with a 3.5 and a 500 a couple of years ago, about 25 years ago, and I'm still kicking myself.
One of them just sold at Mecum for $9,500 in condition. Yeah. For a 3.5.
I think if I'd had 1,200, I could have taken a 3.5.
Yeah, they weren't expensive, right?
I think the 500 was called a Gemini or something.
They
weird.
did a couple of different. They did a couple of different versions. Yep. 1980. Okay, guys, we're into the 80s. Disco pants and haircuts.
I'd forgotten about the camel.
Oh, you can't forget about the fucking camel, man. In 1980, Moto Morini is going strong. The 3.5 Strada and Sport and the 500 Roadster are killing it. They're going to capitalize on the now popular Paris-Dakar rally. And they're going to launch the Camel. The Camel in a V... Dude, it's a V-twin Paris-Dakar bike.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else want to count the number of V-twin Paris-Dakar adventure bikes that existed in the 80s? Fuck, man. That's something. Because the Transalp is a V-twin, right? 350 cc's, 500 cc's. Again, 6-speed transmission, electronic ignition. Very fucking cool. They also make a smaller version of it available in the two-strokes.
To be fair.
It's a Kangaroo. And I love the name Kangaroo, and they spelled it wrong. Okay, great. But things get weird in the 80s. In 1985, they decide they're going to follow what everyone else is doing, and they create the Excalibur.
Which we talked about on a previous
We
podcast.
did. We talked about it in our Ugliest Motorcycles Ever podcast.
We got Kawasaki KZ440 or something.
It is very much like the LTD 454 and the 305.
I think it's a perfect replica of the dollar store Yamasaka Yagahagi.
It is. It is.
The Tomos Revival sort of... No, not the Revival. There's another one Tomos did that looks a lot like that, where it's very scrunched.
And by the way, this is only 1985.
I know.
You could take that same bike, put a fairing on it, and the Italian prints, it'd be a purple rain and spaghetti western.
Relevant thing.
Aubergine.
That motor would look good in a Janus. Swergen just said
That motor would look. Sweargen, you're on the point.
It would work.
A V-twin would look
fit.
great in a Janus.
Would fit.
And it would look like an old Egley Vincent.
Yeah.
Egley Vincent motor. Okay, there's a Camel at full chat, by the way, in case anybody wants to.
Not Benelli, the Buccaneer. Isn't
The
that
Buccaneer's a V-twin. That's correct.
so
and
let's put that in a
that
Janus.
is from the house of it's Benelli, right?
Yeah.
Benelli, and that's the same thing. That Buccaneer 300 or 350. All right, so yeah, 3.5. That's cool. 3.5 V-twin, super fun. Now, 1985. Okay, 1985, man. Whoa, shit's going to get dark. All right. 1986, the last hurrah of the Morini family, the 500cc V-twin turbo.
I ain't mad at that.
I'm not mad at it either.
I like it a lot.
It's got some weird curves and some weird lines.
It's
that I
very
can't-
1980 though. I mean,
Yeah.
It's so well defined, though.
It is well defined, and I know that there was a TV show that involved this bike.
Well, it's like the Italian brother to the Gixxer.
It
It's
is.
like the more svelte and better lined Gixxer. Like,
And it's got Lester mags on it from the
Yeah.
factory. It's got Brembos on it from the factory. Like,
And it comes so boso in the front already.
It sure does. It does. It has 20% more fairing than it really needs. Because I think if we saw this bike in person, we'd be surprised at how small it was.
Yeah.
And look at those 3 brake rotors with not a single hole drilled in any of them. It was 1986, my friends. Now, the problem is it's 1987. Gabriella's not doing so well. And the Castiglione brothers, Castiglione exists at a weird point in history when Cagiva was worth more than Ducati. And go back to your mid-'80s motorcycle history and look at how many different ways you could buy a Cagiva. And the 2 ways you could buy a Ducati.
Yep.
Right? And the Castiglione brothers purchased Ducati in 1986 for a pack of cigarettes and a ham to be named later. They didn't spend much money getting it.
Well, no,
And-
Cagiva went on like a spending spree and bought everybody.
They ran up some serious debt.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get to that later. Under the Cagiva group, Moto Morini was just considered to be, it's there. They bought Ducati and they bought Moto Morini. They liked Ducati. They did not spend any time or money working with Moto Morini.
Didn't they get Gilera in that deal too, I think?
It's ridiculous what
Because, like,
happened.
yeah, I mean, they got everybody.
Well, there was a weird spin where Piaggio took Gilera.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, Morini canceled all new projects. They didn't choose to cancel all new products. The Castiglione brothers said, "We're only spending
You're
money.
done.
We're only spending money on the race team. That's it. That's what they did, because you can always find an Italian millionaire who's willing to lose money racing motorcycles.
and that's how Ferrari got built.
Also
Yeah.
true, right? It's fine. There's always more money,
Yeah.
right? For that person that likes to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, but they still kept building their 80s bikes because they had them. They had the tooling. They were there. They didn't do any. They didn't get any new shit to the market. Okay. Now the bad news was Ducati's getting a lot of attention from Cagiva, and there's a lot of co-branded projects between Cagiva and Ducati. We'll talk about elephants and all kinds of weird
Oh,
shit
yeah.
at a later date. But the one thing that I brought up for Sleepy that I thought was really funny is they did have one breakthrough product called the Moto Morini Dart 400.
Yep.
Dude, that is
they-
a CBR 400 RR.
Yeah, I had the 600cc. That was my first sport bike.
It's a Hurricane.
And I
Yeah,
think
Honda
I
Hurricane.
think they could.
I saw
I think the
one of those
Mito looked like that in a 125 version.
Dude,
almost the
Honda,
exact same
Honda.
bike.
Listen, they ripped it off twice because the outer shape is the 600, but those two vents they reserved for the 1000.
Mm-hmm.
So they like ripped that. They actually ripped it off and made two different models out of that bike.
I
dude.
promise you, this is a pushrod 400. Wow. It is not a lot of go in that package, my friend.
It's a sexy looking 80s bike though, man.
Sure it is. It's a
If
1986.
you were gonna do a lot of cocaine
in
and dress like Vanilla
1990.
Ice, yeah.
You pulling the Chess King on that, dude?
Yeah.
Fuck.
But the point is, you
Wilson
have
leathers. Yeah.
not even in the video game Hang On could you get a Marini 400.
Right.
Right? They had some bikes in that thing, but they did not have a Marini 400.
No.
Because that is totally a ripoff of some Honda shit right there.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. What year was this?
This is 4 years after Honda launched the Hurricane.
Oh, Jesus. Okay,
1990.
sorry. They stole both
This is
of the Hondas.
1990.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I thought you said.
Merritt had an 88 CBR 400R
Oh, yeah.
that was this bike with a VTEC 400.
Oh, yeah.
This is a pushrod twin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is all the sex and none of the hot wax, right? This is just good luck, man.
All show, no go.
All show, no go. But they gets worse. I promise you it gets worse. Because the absolute, we're done. The absolute we're done is the Moto Morini New York 501. The 501 V twin, great motor, six-speed transmission,
just like the jeans.
just like the jeans. This is a fucking hideous motorcycle.
You really
Two-tone
want to do
Oldsmobile.
this to these people?
Yeah, hit him with it, man.
Oh my God!
Pull the
It's
Band-Aid
ugly.
off.
It is clearly a Honda VT 500 Shadow.
No, it's not. It's
with
not.
Italian styling.
While squinting through a piece of fusilli pasta, looking at a Honda VT 500
This
Shadow.
is just the Excalibur.
This looks like-
this
this
is the Excalibur upgraded.
This looks like the version of the monkey we saw at the AIM show last week,
It
sitting
is.
in that tent.
It is.
It was like kind of what it was
Yeah.
supposed to be, but
But
then
it's
it has a
not.
weird pipe, and
There's something not right about
Yeah.
it. Okay, 1991. Shockingly, the Excalibur sells well in Europe. The Dart's air-cooled pushrod engine is too archaic. Nobody buys it. Lamborghini from fucking Ferrari has got a masterpiece motor sitting on the shelf, a 720cc 67-degree V-twin that's putting out over 100 horsepower. Sitting on the shelf. It makes more power than anything Ducati has. It makes more power than anything Cagiva has, and it does it at 720 cc's, and they won't fucking look at it. And he's not happy about that. Okay? The Ducati faction is headed by this guy named Massimo Bordi. Okay? And he made sure that all the money from the Castiglionis went towards what? The 851 CT, the 851 Desmo. So the Desmo 851, we all know it.
Yep. The 851.
That's where all their money went, was going into the Ducati 851. All of it. And you know what? Not a fucking penny went to Moto Morini. And that sucked.
That
So-
cocksucker.
That cocksucker. So then Lamborghini, formerly of Ferrari, he leaves and he goes to Piaggio. I fucking shit you not. I shit you not. 1992, if you're looking at a Piaggio product, that had literally Lamborghini's DNA in it. Good for you. Okay. 1993, their factory that they got in beautiful downtown Bologna closes. It's done. They're done. They're finished. They sell their factory. But their factory was built when Bologna was a very small town, and they were right downtown where they needed to be. This factory, over the course of them owning the factory, became a fucking gold mine, just in the property value, just in the land, just in the building. So it turns out it was fine. Yep, they did okay, but nobody's doing anything more. Remember, it's 1993, and Moto Morini is they're just there. They're just an office. They're still selling their old bikes. People are still buying their old units, but they're not coming up with anything new. So they're there, and you can buy bikes, but nobody cares about it. 1996, Texas Pacific Group buys Cagiva Ducati, and Britney Spears, and Pepsi Cola, and all kinds of other cool shit too. All right? And they literally did not give one fucking snot about Moto Morini. But the name was in the contract when it came over. And so
They
Texas,
barely gave it for Cagiva.
it was done.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. So the Texas Pacific Group is now involved, and that's it. Okay? And they have zero interest, honestly, in Cagiva, and they have zero interest in Moto Morini. They are just 100% Ducati. Because they got money. They can afford a race team. They're called Texas Pacific Group. They can do whatever the fuck they want. In 1999, they sell off the completely useless part of the company that they don't want anything to do with to the guy who created Franco Morini. And that's Alfonso Morini's nephew, the founder's nephew. The family gets the bike back. 1957, he started building mopeds. Franco Morini, if you do your research, Franco Morini sold all kinds of bikes under 125cc. They sold all kinds of shit. Okay? He gets back Franco Lambertini. They're going to put the engineering power back. Pretty soon, just in power plants alone, they're producing 100,000 units a year. Not making motorcycles, just selling motors. They're building small displacement motors that everybody's buying to put in their snowblowers, to put in their lawn tractors, to put in whatever the fuck they have. 100,000 engines a year. Mostly going into Franco Morini scooters.
Yep.
all
if you
kinds
look
of.
at if you look at any mid '90s moped,
Yeah.
anything, it says Franco Morini.
Franco
on the
Morini
side.
on it. I promise you. You have worked on one of these.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
You got a Garelli, right? So outside of Marinelli, right? Franco Morini's the guy for the small displacement motors. That's just what it is. But also, they start getting into 3-cylinders. And they start building 3-cylinders. So we have the Bimota 500cc 2-stroke. They start building.
2-stroke 3-cylinder.
They build some weird shit.
Yeah, Bimota got into some weird shit.
Bimota got into some weird shit. Excellent. So they got the V2 2-stroke. They've got the 3-cylinders. They got all kinds of weird shit. And because Lamborghini is now finally back to being able to build and engineer what he wants to. He wants to build power. He wants to make cool shit. So he does. They develop a new company. Remember, this is all after 1999. Okay? And in 2003, they restructure their company, and it is now officially the Morini family is back in charge. The Morini family that started it all is now officially back in charge of the company. They've been through Cagiva. They've been through the Castiglione brothers. They've been through Texas Pacific Group. They're now officially back in charge. And so we have the Birdie family and the Morini families have now got this company back. It takes them 4 whole years to come up with a 1200cc V-twin putting out 150 horsepower. The Corsaro 1200. They follow it up with a 9.5, a 950cc road bike. That motor, remember that motor we talked about that he had on the bench, that Ducati wouldn't pay any attention to, the Cagiva wouldn't put any attention to? He builds it. He proofs it. He tests it. He puts it in an actual motorcycle, and you can buy it in 2004, 140 horsepower.
I want to see what's the Casaro 1200 look like. If you get a chance.
I will be happy to pull that up for you.
Take your time.
It's okay. We can do that. We'll go ahead and open this up. Go ahead if you want to pull that one up for us there, Sleepy. She got a big ass.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess they saw the Honda Hornet.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, this was over 140 horsepower.
That's
right.
crazy.
And because it's Italian, it's got to be red and it's got to be a naked bike, I guess. So that's just the way that worked.
That was kind of sexy, though. I didn't hate it.
It's extremely sexy. I have zero problems with these bikes that come up in their legacy. These machines that they're building under the family name in the family factory, they're just killer. They're all killer, no filler. They're pretty freaking cool. They go through in the 2000s, and they build really fucking powerful, really exotic motorcycles. But their whole thing is they're 100% Italian. They're not buying Nissan calipers. They're not buying KYB suspension. They are 100% Italian bikes. They are extraordinarily loyal to their original designs. They are really, really making sure that these things are as good as they can be. They're selling bikes. And in 2007, they're feeling pretty good about things. And they offer the Birdie brothers sell their stock to the Morini family and absolutely put the little cherry on top that this is a 100% Morini operation. This is theirs. They've got the right designer. They got the right engineers. They got the right people in place. Really, what could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? It turns out there was an economic collapse in 2009. Some of you may have heard about it. Everybody who had anything lost everything. And in the motorcycle industry, this was not a good time to have a very expensive product that was hand-built with the finest of components and was really fucking expensive. It was not a good time to have a factory that built about 400 motorcycles per year for the elite, wealthy superbike enthusiast. It was not a good time. Keep in mind that the stuff that they were building, it's amazing. I mean, there's no way to say anything other than the shit that's coming out of their factory is just beautiful. Sleepy, if you want to go ahead and pull this image up. these are not ugly motorcycles. These are good-looking bikes. And the fact that these are good-looking motorcycles that you can throw a leg over and have 100-plus horsepower, 150 horsepower, 140, 150 horsepower V-twins.
They had the tail high in the air before a lot of people had the tail
Before
high
a
in
lot
the
of people did, yeah. They were really proud of the exhaust. They had the bug-eye thing going on. That was the Jam. That's what they were doing. Again, there's a lot of really, really, really cool shit that was going on. I can appreciate it. But it was ahead of its time. Go ahead, Sleepy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Definitely, yeah.
It was ahead of its time. That's 2008.
Well, there's a lot of Ducati monster there.
There sure is.
So
Except
but-
for that's 140 horsepower.
well, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
That
again,
would look good today. That's 15 years ago, 17 years ago.
that is literally 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And it looks great today. It's a beautiful bike by any standard. And again, every single part of the bike is Italian. They wanted to make sure they were all hand built. Every bike, every single bike was special. Every bike was built for the person that ordered it. It's kind of fucking amazing, right? I just dig it. I think it's great. Now, that's building bikes by hand. Okay? 2009, that company could not survive. Even though Berlusconi brothers, that's the Italian prime minister, remember the Bunga Bunga Party
Bunga
guys?
Bunga Party, yeah.
Yes. They tried to buy it. Okay? That guy already owned Gorelli. I didn't know that. I had no idea that Berlusconi owned Gorelli. That is fucking news to me. I can only imagine what those parties were like. Okay? But in 2010, they were so fucked that you could buy a 2007 leftover for 3,600 euros.
Oh, wow.
A hand-built custom motorcycle for 3,600 euros. You could get a Corsaro 1,200 for only 4,800 euros because it was a fire sale. The economy was screwed. It was fucked. So this dude Capazzi comes over and creates a company called Eagle Bike. Now, the Morini logo is the eagle that John was very nice to point out. How'd that conversation go, John?
About as expected.
So the Moto Morini logo is a golden eagle, very, very Art Deco looking eagle, very
You say Art
Teutonic.
Deco. I say kind of Third Reich.
Fascist.
No,
fascist chic.
Yes,
The
yes, yes.
The Italians are about the fascism, and
Yeah.
the house of fascism is in what, Milan?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, 1937, going into World War II. allowing
Really,
yourself with
really in
Germany.
Vogue style.
yeah.
Eagles were all the rage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at any Moto Guzzi. It's got an eagle on the gas tank. Eagles were all the rage. You look at a German 5-mark piece, big old eagle on the back
See,
of it.
now we need Sean here with the birds.
Yes, Sean
we talk-
O'Hara.
yeah,
Sean
so
O'Hara.
Sean
to
O'Hara.
Clarify the golden eagle, right?
I'm not saying I don't like it. I mean, it looks great.
Just saying.
Oh, hey.
Just saying.
It's a little.
For what it's worth. I mean,
It also could be tattooed on the back of a skinhead, and you'd be
Also
like,
true.
okay, that's
He's really into Moto Morini.
That's the way he's going. He loves Moto Morini. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So
Mr. McGee did not like that at all.
things were in bad shape. He bought the entire fucking factory. Sandro Capatosti and I'm not even going to try. Ruggero Massimo Gianzuzelli bought the factory for 1.96 million euros. It's $2 million.
Wow.
2 million euros.
Can't even buy a shitty house for that.
That's
anymore.
comparatively a bargain.
You go buy a small house in San Diego.
Right.
Right? But they didn't get the factory. They got the lease. They got the lease, which is fine. Okay? They had a 2-year lease on the premises. So they now own a motorcycle company. And by the way, the Marinis, they've taken their licks. The market implosion of 2009 claims victims, and the romance is gone. But this guy is not a dick.
You remember how many shops went out of business that year?
Yeah, everybody except us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were last man standing.
Crazy.
Yeah, I had 25 people in my dealer organization, and then I had 3. So that's a disturbing proportion of people that did not make it.
Quick question.
Please do.
So they have the lease. Did the Morini still own the factory itself then?
They had property, right?
Okay.
So they were leasing it out. They own the property, and they're leasing it out.
Got it.
So in that, coming back, they decide they're going to do something special, and they build a pretty special motorcycle. You can go ahead and throw it up there. That's the Jubilee. So this motorcycle right here that we see up on the screen, this motorcycle celebrates Moto Morini's 75th year, 75 years in business, the Golden Jubilee. That's their bike that they're going to go ahead and relaunch that to the market. And here's the thing about that bike, 600 bikes. They're only going to build 600 of them. Welcome back to the market, 600 bikes. And
I'll drink to that.
exactly. So the 600 machines that they're going to buy really do kind of put the bike on the map. We kind of, being in America, we don't know any of this history because, well, none of it really hit here. It was all happening over in Europe.
Well, because Cosmopolitan Motors, that was the importer.
Yep.
Didn't they go into? They went out of business in the
They
early
did.
2000s.
Yep.
I remember the fire sale.
Yeah, they did. They went away. Yep. So that's all happening in 2012. But by 2013, they had a Scrambler 1200. They had a racing bike. They had a sport touring bike called the Gran Paso 1200. They had 30 employees. They made 70 handmade bikes per year on order. And they had a plan going where they were going to go into a whole bunch of different motor sizes. And they were saying, okay, we could probably build up to 100 employees and 5,000 bikes before 2016. That was their plan. They build a production system in their factory. Everything's looking good. And then they start a buyback lease program.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, fucking you're right. You're absolutely right. The idea what they did was they would sell you a lease on a motorcycle for $100 a month or whatever. You'd have the bike for 2 or 3 years and then have to give the bike back. And then they would sell it used, right? But it got units out there. That was the whole idea. Just get the bikes out there and people will come and buy them. The downside was it didn't work. It didn't fucking work at all.
That's a big downside.
It's a huge fucking downside. It didn't.
For some reason, that plan keeps popping up, and for some reason, it keeps failing.
And it keeps fucking failing. And it kills me too because the motorcycles that they were selling at that time, pull it up, Sleepy, it's not an ugly bike. The Gran Paso, this is their Grand Touring bike. Now, aside from the fact it looks like it just escaped from the Matrix movie and it's going to chew a hole in the side of your spaceship.
Johnny Five is alive.
Yeah. This is a full trellis frame, massive, over 130 horsepower V-twin, upside down everything, 100% Brembo, 100% Italian, all of the things, right?
But its eyeballs are too wide apart.
It is. It does look like it might be a fetal alcohol syndrome baby.
It's got a dick nose between its eyes, too.
It does have dick nose between its eyes. Yeah. So, but again, did you know about this motorcycle?
Nope.
Sleepy, did you know about this motorcycle?
I honestly did not.
You ride big adventure bikes.
I know.
Pete, you ride big adventure bikes. Did you even know that this was an option back in the day? Because I didn't.
No.
Totally slipped past my radar.
I've never seen one until this moment.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Yes.
Ever.
And they went to production with that.
Somebody said Johnny Five. No, it's Gianni Five.
Hey, Giovanni 5. Hey,
Oh, you see this
Beppo.
again.
Hey, Beppo.
Oh, my
Beppo. So
Oh, it went away.
it did. Oh, there you go. I got it back again. There you go.
Yes.
So that's what that's all about. Yay!
Wow.
I had no idea, man. I
I
had
bet
no
your parts
idea.
are hard to find for that bike.
I'm sure you're screwed if you own that, right? I mean, come on. That's what there is. Okay. 2016 Morini goes back to EICMA, back to the EICMA show in Milan. They bring out the Corsaro ZZ, and this is their sport bike. And they are straight up going to sign up some dealers. They've got everything going on. You can have anything you want as long as it's a really expensive 1200 V-twin. And if you want a really expensive 1200 V-twin, Moto Morini has got you nailed. They are hand-built, all Italian bikes, which means they're probably not running, right?
Are they still 3,600 euros?
Oh, they are not, my friend. These things are literally, you order it, they build it to your specification. I've seen some really fucked up paint jobs. Like, that's what they wanted. You want an orange body working in a red frame? That's what the guy wanted. That's what they got. But they had everything. They had ABS. They had electronic shift assist in 2016. Wow. Pretty cool.
What were they going for new abouts?
30 to 40K.
Whoa.
These are hand built.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
This is for you.
Yep.
This is not for your average guy that thinks he might want to pick up a nice pre-owned Ducati Scrambler. Right. This is for the guy that's like, no. I need more red, white, and green. Yeah.
But
I need all the tricolore.
do you know the numbers that they actually sold? Because I honestly have never seen one of those before.
No, not at all. This is their 80th anniversary at this point. They build 8 limited edition Corsaros called the Corsaro 80. Really cool. Oh, no, I do have the numbers. They sold 150 motorcycles in 2017. Now,
The first month.
but if we sell them for $1 million a piece, we're going to make all the money in the world. Yeah, that's exactly it.
To me, it's just terrifying to buy a bike that's like one of 7 or 8. You know, it's like you don't get parts. I mean, what do? I mean, like you ride it till it breaks and you're done.
I think you had to put yourself in the position where this is for the guys that were like, I'm going to buy a Confederate Hellcat or I'm going to buy one of these. Yeah. Right? And so if your buddy...
Circles, man.
Right. It's all circles, man. It's all circles.
I just want something that nobody else has.
And I think that's what it is. And I really do think that's what it is. I can tell you that the bike was beautiful. The 80th anniversary bike, it's fucking gorgeous. Sleepy can throw it up there right now.
Everyone's a prototype.
Everyone's a prototype. Everyone's hand built. The gas tank is hand hammered aluminium. It's all carbon fiber and hand hammered aluminium.
I need a new gas tank.
Vito can build you one.
You're gonna have to wait a little while.
Right.
Yeah.
Unlike Ducatis, these didn't leak. So pretty cool. But again, not everybody's cup of tea. Pretty fucking expensive goddamn bike, right? They sell 180 bikes in year of our Lord 2018. Wow. 180 bikes.
That's not enough.
That's not nearly enough. But the good news is...
That's Janice numbers.
It kind of is, actually.
Well, I mean,
right?
comparably, you're not wrong.
Hand built?
And
Hand
it's
built.
and they're hand built.
Hand built. Okay. But the good news was they showed up at the EICMA show that year in Milan. And so did Zongshen. And at that moment, Ruggero Massimo Gianuzzelli realized that his peanut butter was in Zongshen's chocolate, or vice versa. All right? Because Zongshen Vehicle Group gave the man 10 million plus euros. The number's not legally disclosed, but he does say in an interview that his family did end up getting over 10 million euros for their investment of 1.6 million euros and the money they lost building motorcycles in between, I'm sure, by selling to Zongnen. So Zhongnen or Zongnen or Zongnen, Zinen is what I like to call him. Zinen's much easier. So Zinen buys this guy's company, but they're going to keep the research and development in Milan, or yes, Bologna, thank you. And they're going to keep that staff in Italy on hand because they do not have the intention of selling 180 motorcycles. Zenon starts production numbers at 10,000. They're kind of a big deal. And I was very, very surprised when I realized that this company that we've been talking about for the past 40 minutes didn't go out of business. There were moments when it had to fight the rats for its lunch, right? But they managed to fucking somehow soldier through until they get this giant cash infusion from Zongzhen or Zinen. Very weird that it came to this. Take a look at the bike I just pulled up on the screen. That's how you come back.
Yeah.
That's how you come back.
It's right.
It's
like,
right.
Like
It
having been this close to buying one, that's right.
That looks like a 3.5.
Yeah.
That somebody fucking dropped on top of a V-twin 1200cc motor.
It's the perfect roll forward for the 3.5.
I would do away with the dual canister exhaust. That's the only thing I would change.
There you go.
That's what the V-Rod tried to be.
I don't know if that's stainless steel. I kind of like it. A full stainless.
Well,
I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it.
It's a good looking bike.
This was the one that really caught my eye.
This is what the current management, Chris McGee, this is what Zenen, this is what the Italian people still there at the factory and the design team in Italy, this is what they wanted for their return. And this is what they built. And it's taken them a little while to grab that old 1200 motor and massage it into EPA compliant specifications, because as we talked about, that motor is 20 years old.
Wait, that's a 1200? Oh, I thought it was going to be like, rolling the 3.5 forward, and it was going to be 5.
So, John, you'll be happy to know they do it as a 350 V twin.
Okay.
They do it as a 650 parallel twin.
Okay.
They do it as a 750 V twin.
Wow.
And they do it as a 1200 V twin.
Craze.
Pretty fucking cool.
That's nuts.
That's pretty
I
fucking
think
cool.
the flavor that I was on at the show is the 650.
The 650. Yeah, you were sitting on the 650. That got my attention. That got my attention. So in 2023, that company that sold 150 bikes, in 2023, that company sold 5,000 bikes.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Wow. Now we're talking. That's the difference. So that's the difference. They go from 150 bikes to 5,000 bikes. And in 2023, they were offering 6 models, 6 bikes. Okay. Now we know from standing in the booth the other day that number's grown a little bit. Mm-hmm. That number's gotten a bit bigger. Yes, the 1200 is coming back, as we just saw the 3.5 1200. I don't know how you're going to market that shit, but it is. That's coming back. That's a thing that's going to happen. But what I was kind of more surprised with is all the other stuff, the small stuff. The 350 V twin, they're bringing that's back. So we're going to have a sport version of that. We're going to have a standard version of that. We're going to have an unfortunate cruiser version of that. Sorry, we can't all be winners.
Well, somebody had to bring the Excalibur back.
Honestly, shocking they didn't call it
They
Excalibur.
should have.
Didn't they call
And
it
honestly,
the Rumble? The Rumble?
If we ever get one, I'm
It's
just
the
I'm
Rumble?
going to put Excalibur stickers down the side.
The Calabrero.
It could be a lot
The Calibro?
worse.
Calibro.
It could be a
Calibro.
I
lot
like
worse.
Calabrero. I'm going to say it Pennsylvania style.
Now that I've thought about it, no, it's the Excalibur.
It's a
We're just going
Calabrero.
to have to call him back on Monday and just go, no, Excalibur.
I'm adding a little bit of Spanish to it.
The Calabrero.
Caballero?
The Caballero.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. I am picking up what you're laying down, man.
I feel it.
I am totally picking up what you're laying down.
That bagger one, that was pretty cool. I mean,
They're the bagger, the Calibro 700. Sleepy, go ahead and pull this up right now. Not an ugly bike.
No. At all.
Picking up some multi-strata vibes there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool machine.
That's not
This
the
is a
Calibro.
750 that's putting out in the 96 horsepower range. So that's pretty good. That's all right. And it's a V-twin.
That's Africa Twin Power.
Yep. And seeing and touching it and stuff, they're legit.
They're legit. They are
Yeah.
really nicely put together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that makes sense. Like you can take the seat pad off the back and there's a storage area under the seat pad, but you don't have to use tools to take the seat pad off. You literally just turn the key. Pretty cool. They already have the bag mounts built into the bike, so you don't need to buy brackets and shit. They're already built into the machine. So the machine comes from the factory with the bag mounts already on it. Thought that was pretty cool. Thought that was pretty tasty. It's a good looking machine. It has all the right stuff. And again, we're talking about a motorcycle that with 96 horsepower is going to be under $10,000. That's attractive to some people. I kind of dig it. You know, I kind of think that's cool. The
Calibro.
What's the floor plan on that?
so I've had to, they want me to take 8 for the record, and because 3 of the bikes that I want desperately haven't been allowed to be in the United States yet. They're going to be mid-year launches like June. So I took 5 that we saw that I liked. So I took 5 that we like, and I got 3 in reserve that when they come in, I'm going to get those. I got a Scrambler. I got the 650 that Sean absolutely loves.
The blue one with the brown seat.
The blue one with the brown seat. Well, no, he liked the red one.
I like the red street one.
Oh yeah.
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 So the I want to pull this one up so everybody at home can see it. This is pretty cool. A lot of you guys, if you guys are seasoned motorcycle riders, and throw this up, you might recognize this parallel twin 650 motor. if you have a Versus, you're going to recognize it a lot.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, so that's the CF Moto built motor. So that is a CF Moto product. That is the same exact motor as that's in your Kawasaki Versys 650. That's what it is. That is, that is no apologies. They put it in their fucking newsletter or whatever. That is the Versys 650 twin. It's also fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful bike. That's a really, really, really nice bike. And for 70 odd horsepower and a 6-speed transmission, that's also pretty cool. What doesn't hurt is that every single Morini has a 3-year warranty. So off the tick, you 3-year warranty. That's pretty cool. Very, very cool. That's the original 3.5, by the way. In the color you shouldn't buy. That's
the red and black is the
you
way
got to
go.
buy the red and black.
I don't
That's
care.
all there is to
I
it.
just always like those 3.5.
Me too. Always. So the 650
they're
is parallel twin, and
beautiful
that's
bikes.
parallel twin. That's what you're going to get there. It's cool. It's a neat bike. It does all kinds of cool shit. The bike that I know everyone was excited about is the 450. The 450's super cool. I have no complaint at all with a lot of their shit. A lot of the stuff that they're doing, it's cool. Now the bad news was it was called the Althreich.
Oh.
And the Althreich or Third Reich or Althreich or Fourth Reich, I can't get it right
I still don't think you should name any motor vehicle hike.
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Because anything to do with walking is against.
I was gonna say, dude, if you have to carry the
And they kind of leaned into it too.
Yeah.
No, this is you're not going to sell
Yeah.
this.
At least it's not called chinchilla.
Well,
Oh, I thought it was
that might
Yeah.
end up a little better in some ways.
I think we all.
It does give me the warm fuzzies though.
So this Althreich is 450 cc's. I think they've done it justice. I don't have a problem with the bike. I think that for people who are looking for that kind of under 100 mile per hour, kind of under 100 mile per hour motorcycle, they're probably going to be pretty happy. I'm just having trouble pulling it up right at the moment. We'll figure it out. There's a lot.
It's Althreich. Take your time.
It's Althreich. Yeah, they're literally. It just doesn't want to load at the moment. I think I'm suffering some Wi-Fi shortage at the moment. But the one that I'm extremely excited about, and I probably shouldn't be this excited about it, but I'm very excited about the new 350, the baby 350, the little 350.
I wonder, is it going to have 37 horsepower?
It is.
What?
It already does. It's not gonna. It exists. It's on this planet. It's already gone through EPA testing. We're just waiting for it to show up in June.
Good Lord.
Fucking A, man. And 6-speed transmission and a V-twin, which we like. I gotta say, I like a nice small displacement motorcycle.
I can't wait till good weather comes around. I'm going to hang out the shop.
We're gonna hang out at the shop,
ride
just
it.
ride these dumb things. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm very, very excited about it. So, kind of getting into those things.
I mean, I don't want to move full production there, but maybe like do an R2 unit just one time, just like so we can all like. I mean, you don't want to, Well, I mean, you'll cycle them through. Maybe.
Yes, we will. Yeah.
Tell
week
us
at
a
a
little
time.
bit more about the scrambler you mentioned. What the?
Which one?
Yeah, I guess that's what I want to
The
know.
650 or
Is there a 650?
so there is a
Okay.
650 Scrambler, right? And they call it the SCR. Obviously, nice that they made it easy for us. The 650 Scrambler, you guys can pull it up here. This is a bike that a 650cc motorcycle is going to cost you for a brand new one, $69.99.
Now, all those crash bars on the one bike that they had there, was those there? Yeah, that's all that.
That's they call the Trek version.
And they
so-
they repainted. The one was orange and black, and they
Yep.
just painted all
That was a
stuff.
Roland Sands bike. So they
okay.
did Biltwell. They did a Biltwell bike, Biltwell version of it. So they do the bike in 3 liveries. They do it in blue, they do it in boot camp green, and they do it in, I think, gray was the other one.
The blue was quite sharp. in
Blue was
person.
very good
Very
looking
good
bike.
blue.
Very cool looking machine.
There's a great picture of me and Johnny Mac with that blue one.
It's a cool bike, and again, it's a street bike. Don't confuse it with a motocross bike. That's not what it is. But it is a very retro-looking machine, but it's all the Brembo, it's all the Marzocchi, it's all the cool shit.
But it does have a Versys motor.
It does have a Versys motor.
So it has a little bit of adventure.
It's going to definitely have that pedigree. What I also like about them is every single one of their wheels has tubeless tires. So even when you see spokes, they are the spoked tubeless. So none of their bikes require tubes. Even their 21-inch that they're doing on the 450 is a tubeless. So, and those rims that are on there are Acront rims, and they're doing them in the way that you can put a tube in it if you insist on it. You can take the filler valve off and pump a tube into it, or you can run it with a inner tube
Well,
or
how do
a
they do
tubeless.
that? Is that O-rings on the...
What's that?
It said kill the lower screen. It's whiting it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it is blowing the. Blowing
Sorry
the camera.
about it. We'll take care of that. It's blowing out the camera. We can take care of that. We can make that go away. We have the technology.
Is that O-rings on the spoke nipples, or
No,
are they
it's,
doing like the
It's the channel.
channel?
It's the channel. It's the channel. It's the little tunnel inside.
Raised ridge.
Raised ridge. Thank you. Yeah. So it's the tunnel inside. You know what? Companies like Moto Guzzi and stuff that did the double O-rings on the spokes, I've never trusted that. Never trusted it.
That's a lot of O-rings.
That's a shit ton of O-rings. And when you buy a motorcycle and the owner's manual says never, ever, ever use a power washer.
Yeah.
And when the owner's manual says never use a power washer on these rims.
on a dirt bike with a 21
On a dirt
inch.
bike.
Well,
with-
yeah.
yeah, fuck that. That's not going to work. So I've never trusted the shit ton of O-rings method. I've also never trusted the 3M tape around the
Oh,
inside.
absolutely not.
Actually, I use that.
I know a lot of people who have.
I use the I forget that Utrex, I believe is the system I use. My bike's a 2017. I've been running it since 2019. 6 years now.
Yep.
Same
And a
air,
lot
same
of
air
peop-
never topped it up.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, they want like 50 cents at every gas station to put air in your tire now.
It is just one of those things. I've tried it. I've had a couple of bikes that I've had. My XT350 I did that method too. I did the whole tutorial. I followed all the rules. I put it together. It did not appear to leak, but I also had a not so fresh feeling.
They tried to sell Peggy nitrogen at the Kia dealership.
Oh,
We can put nitrogen in your tires.
You
And she was
can.
Like, go fuck your hat.
You can get a. I think isn't Costco doing that? Like, isn't their thing nitrogen? No, just the air pump outside.
No fucking idea, dude. Look. I went to a motorcycle trade show years ago, and this cocksucker comes out and he goes, "We got the Nitro Blaster 3000. This is a device that turns your shop air through an electrochemical process into nitrogen. It just scavenges nitrogen. Keep in mind, when you breathe in, most of what you're breathing in is nitrogen.
About 80%.
About 80%. So it would be hard to have anything less than 80% nitrogen in your tires.
You actually would have to take the oxygen and carbon dioxide out.
Yeah.
So when the guy is like, "Oh yeah, with our system, you're going to get, the highest possible concentration of nitrogen,"
They're
and I'm like,
electrolysis.
but it's
in our tiny
already
little box.
over 80% nitrogen.
Yeah.
The nitrogen count is already pretty high. So I don't know how much better it's going to get, because what you're saying is nitrogen's the solution. So the other 18% is the problem. So if the other 18% is the problem, then you need to take the other 18% away. Well, the other 18% is what I call shit you need to live.
Yeah.
Okay? So you need to have a way to filter the shit you need to live out of the air and then pump that into your tires. Well, if the problem was the shit you need to live, 18 or 17%, well, then the nitrogen's not really your fucking solution. The solution is you just got scammed. Whatever you paid to have nitrogen put in your tires, I hope you have a tank of nitrogen so you can top them off when the time comes. Otherwise, you just ruined the whole fucking system.
Oh, smudging.
Sergeant!
Uh-oh.
I do still have the TW200, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I
Fuck
got dibs
yeah.
on it, so don't be thinking.
Dan's gonna hobo fight you in the yard for that one.
Hey, man, I have no intention of coming off that TW200 anytime soon. But Dan, you can ride it anytime you like. But I also, you'll be my first guy I rip off when I sell it to. Yeah, you'll be the first guy I charge too much for. It is beautiful. It's the most nice TW200 on the planet. There ain't a nicer one. Yeah, it's a gorgeous bike. There is no other than the fact that it's 70 miles an hour on the freeway, it keeps sounding like it's going to throw a piston through my nuts. It's just not happy going that fast.
Well, it is only a 200.
It is a 200, I know,
mean,
but come on, man.
I abused my TW200s, man. I rode those things all over the place. And
Honestly, you're the best. You're the best judge of it.
well, they didn't. They just. You say what you thought I was gonna like blow up and take your nuts off, but I'm telling you, I abused those things. I never blew one up.
I watched a guy the other day who's got a legit straight up MX course in his backyard, and he's out there railing on a 250, and then he brings the T-dub out and does it just as good. And the noises that bike is making is just valve float of the highest fucking order. It's just so angry. But the bike doesn't complain. It does it.
I rode mine out at Meadowlark's motocross
Oh, you did?
track one time. Yeah.
The other day when Dr. Waters and I were doing a little snow management, I looked in my garage and I went, fuck, man, I don't have a battery tender lead on that CRF 250 that I just bought. My dumbass doesn't have a battery tender lead on a motorcycle. That is not right. And I went, aha. But that motorcycle has a lithium battery in it. So pulled it out of the garage. It was about, I think, 8 degrees. Started it. It started. And it started first fucking crank. And it has been sitting for at least 3 months.
Did you warm up the battery at all with like
I
the
did not.
headlight or anything?
Dude, all I did was turn the key on. I turned the key on. I walked up. And for some reason in our house, we broke 2 shovels on the ice. So we only had 1 shovel. So I'd shoveled 90% of the driveway. Merritt was wrapping up the rest. And I was like, cool, fuck this. I'm going to go get the dirt bike, start it up, and let it run for a while, charge the battery back up again, because I don't want to go to the trouble of putting a battery tender lead on it, because I'm lazy. Turn the key, press the button, bike started. Bike started crazy good, too, like super easy. And then I was like, well, it's running.
While we're here.
So I let it idle for about
Circulate some fluids.
5 or 6 minutes, and I was like, you know what we need to do? We need to go ruin all that virgin snow in my backyard.
I was just going to say, that's a perfect winter bike.
I don't have a big backyard. I have a bit of a double lot. Like, it's just double lot. I went back there, and I screwed myself silly into the ground doing clockwise and then anti-clockwise and just had that thing drifting sideways in the deep snow. It probably 8 inches of snow. Like, not real super deep. But it was fucking hanging it out, man. And I had so much fun.
And it does so much for you too. If you can get a good session of that in for like a month before you hit the road, then you're used to your back. You get a tar snake, it's not a new feeling again. Like, you know.
When I left the confines of the backyard.
So how's the pond doing?
Oh, it was solid.
Was it? Is it smooth?
Oh yeah.
Or is it
Oh, it's good.
vibrating?
I mean, it's ridiculous because like we got that warm spell, so everything
that's
melted
what I was gonna
and then
say.
it refroze, so it's like dead flat.
I mean, heck, my driveway was like that last week.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. I left the safety of my yard because you have to, and I left the safety of my yard and I patrolled the neighborhood, and no, fuck that. The knobbies, the 100% off-road knobbies, and they had salted. Bad combination. That was a bad combination. That was some flat track bullshit out there. And it was just like anytime I pointed the bike that way, the back tire went that way, etc. So I did more time engaging foot than I'd like to. You know, the oh shit lever had been deployed several times. And we're like, oh. But then I got back and I had this beautiful 3-foot tall pile of snow Merritt had built. And I was like going through that.
It's amazing how much snow a bike will cut through because they're so skinny
remarkable.
tires and it'll just cut through a big
First
berm.
time I went through at 71%, got trapped. Second time I did not make that mistake. Second time I went through with much enthusiasm. Got it stopped by about the garage door. Just in time.
You mean you didn't even go over the handlebars? Boo.
Sorry, Oscar wasn't here. We're just going to call that the Oscar Scorpion from now on.
Yes.
The full Oscar Scorpion. Other motorcycle news, in case you're interested, Nurburgring is changing the rules. Raise your hand if you've ever been to the Nurburgring. Pretty fucking weird, man. Great experience. Spend a couple of bucks, take your bike or your car on the
on my
racetrack.
I
Pretty
saw
neat.
the 1986 motorcycle Grand Prix there.
You did?
Yep.
Holy shit.
After I first went to Nuremberg.
Wrong place.
Yeah.
Wrong city. You missed it by that much.
Got on the train going the other direction, and
Yeah.
eventually made it to Nuremberg.
Nurburg and Nuremberg are very frequently interchanged. And the problem is, even there, Nurn with an Nuremberg and Nuremberg, they're marked on the map both ways. I've seen that.
Where did they have the hangings?
The trial, Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
You are like, and so the funny thing is, for Americans, just like Munich is München, right? When it comes to Nuremberg, for us in the United States, Nuremberg is Nuremberg. There. So yeah, where the hangings were, that was Nuremberg. Yeah. So that's where that happened. So this is a big deal coming up. The motorcycle people, if you want to go real fast on a legal place to do it, you now only have 4 days a year, and they're going to send you out there with a coach. So it's still the €30. It's still like it was. Like when last time I went, it was put money in vending machine, go see how fast a Ford Focus ZX5 can go. Pretty fun. Pretty cool.
You've seen the videos being posted over the last, because I got sucked into it a whole bunch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Where you just see like the guys will have like biker almost hits car on
Yes.
ring, and it's like the bikers were kind of being dicks, man.
Well,
like
the sight lines are real bad.
Well, it's,
Yeah,
all I can think of when we were talking about this earlier was Sabine on Top Gear,
Yep.
and the transit van yelling at the freaking bikes to get out of the way.
Oh, she is yelling at 1,000cc motorcycles, "Get out of the way, bike!" And she's driving a four-cylinder
Ford
fucking
transit van,
transit van,
And
right?
she's tricycling it, like the wheels,
totally tricycle.
back wheels coming up from the inside, right, man? She was laying that thing.
It's
Everything.
hysterical.
Rest in peace, Sabine.
Oh, yeah.
You were a fucking god.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. You made me so happy watching you scare Jeremy Clarkson and beat him in a BMW.
I've
but
been watching so much old Top
it's
Gear.
good.
Oh yeah.
It's been therapy for
Old
me.
Top
solid.
Gear is good. My first time on Nürburgring was in a 1980 Audi 80, throwing down maybe 59 horsepower.
He was hitting like 36 mile an hour on the street.
It was pretty fun. Yeah. But what I can tell you is I have only been on Nürburgring one time on a motorcycle, and that was literally one of those ones where it's like, well, we're here. Shame. And back then, it was only 20 marks. So if you could do the exchange rate, it was less than $20, right? And the 80s were cool. And I took my BMW out on that thing and lost the back end 100 times to the point where it was just completely unsafe to ride. I realized that the bike the bike and me were not up to the challenge of that racetrack, of that testing ground, of that fucking city-sized road, right? So now, because the motorcycles have had such problems there, they're literally only going to do the motorcycles 2 weekends. So
And you have to be in a school.
that's right. You have to be in a group. So it's going to cut down the opportunity for motorcycles to be out there. What I can also tell you is anytime that the one time I was out there on a BMW motorcycle, I was the most dangerous thing there, by far. I was the most dangerous thing. People in camper vans were passing me. No shit. It really happened.
Dude in a van against like, get out of the way.
Yeah, no, that was a real thing that really happened. When my ex-wife and we went out in the Audi 80, because I had no idea. She told me about it. And we went there in the Audi 80 and did a hot lap in the Audi 80. Again. Volkswagen Fox, right? Stand back. I'm gonna unleash this 1.3 liters of fury.
Yeah. Like
right?
36 whole
It's a
horsepower.
very warm lap.
Had a 4-speed manual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. We had the moonroof closed for better aerodynamics. We were getting it all she had. And what's funny was she had done that already with her father. Like they had gone out and taken their car out and done that. And then so we thought it'd be fun. We should do that. And we were, again, the slowest thing on Nürburgring at 100%. So that is a sad thing, but I guess if we don't want people to die all the time, we have to have some rules. So those are the rules. Guy Martin is going for 400 miles per hour in a fucking Rolls-Royce turbine-powered motorcycle.
1,200 horsepower.
1,200 horsepower.
At what point do you just take a decommissioned jet
That's what this is.
That's
and you
what-
just take the wings off of it and put it on two wheels?
Well, a lot of land speed vehicles are that.
I mean, because you're not hitting V1 or V2 here. You're not trying to take off. You're just going a straight line.
no,
When I
it's-
saw that it was a
when you look at
turbine
thrust and
motorcycle,
stuff,
I
yeah.
thought it was going to be a Y2K, but no, it's purpose built by him. And
Yep.
yeah, he said nothing from the motorcycle world is going into it.
No, it's not, and it is a crazy kooky thing. There's no doubt about it. This is going to be a 400 mile per hour motorcycle, and Guy Martin's kind of the guy to do it. That's kind of his jam. That's what he pulls off.
I watched the interview that was attached with that article, and it was very interesting. He's into a lot of stuff, and one of the things he was doing was they're recovering World War II bombers that crashed in Denmark or whatever, because the Danes credit the English for saving that country, and so they've been slowly, kind of quietly. I mean, they'll admit they're just trying to recover the remains of all the crews and also the planes. It's pretty interesting.
It's very interesting, and Guy Martin's a fun guy anyway. He's an interesting dude to watch.
Intense.
Spend some time with anything Guy Martin does. I think you'll come away from it better off once you get past the language barrier.
Well, he's also he has a genuineness.
Yes, he does.
Genuosity.
He's a very authentic human being.
Very
Authentic.
genuine.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much so.
What would be that word?
Okay, what are we doing here, mate?
Authenticity?
He's genuflecting. Yes.
Genuflecting.
Then sad news, my friends. Johnny Mac in particular. Honda officially calls the Honda Big One.
It's okay.
It's done.
Yeah.
The Honda Big One is done. The Honda Big One, the idea of a naked, big-ass four-cylinder.
600 pounds, 111 horsepower doesn't really. Out of 1,300 cc's, I mean, look what a Hayabusa does.
Yeah.
It ain't no Hayabusa.
It ain't no Hayabusa. And it's still running traditional forks. It's still running ancient 80s technology.
No.
And people were still buying a couple.
I mean, you think a 1,300 cc would be at least 150, a 200, like a 200 horsepower.
Absolutely.
Motorcycle.
But again, that motorcycle is officially gone. That is it. Honda finally gave up on it. Honda always being well in tune with when is the right time to murder a project.
I almost wonder
apparently-
if the 1,000 is almost 100. I wonder. It's like
I'm sure it is, right?
yeah. The
I mean,
displacement did not displace more horsepower.
it was not a more powerful bike by any standards. I think it was just the idea of it. I'm sorry, I can't find a better picture.
The
of this.
bike probably outlived its market.
It did.
know,
I
it's
think that's what happened. Yeah. What was that one that we got? 92?
95.
95. Yeah,
Yeah.
95. The bike was so disproportionate that 17-inch rims look stupid on it, so they put 18s on it. Buying 18-inch tires is no bueno.
Yeah.
Yeah, buying 18-inch sport bike
That would
tires.
limit your choices to what? 2?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, not a great.
The tires, they came on it and Cheng Shen.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure like once you get past like the Dunlop K591 or
Right.
whatever conciliatory tire that Dunlop said, we're just going to make this tire
All right,
for
cool.
that
Yeah,
one
we
bike.
got you covered. Yeah.
It was the same way for the PC800. You're like, for the 15-inch back tire, you had like one Dunlop K591,
Yeah.
and that was it. There wasn't a lot of options for that machine. It was just a really fucking small number. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this picture up. Just I think I want people at home to be able to see this. How disproportionate this bike is. Because you look at that bike and you're like, it's all right.
That's not the 1,300 though.
No, that's the old one.
That's the older
That's
one.
the one you had,
Yeah.
the CB1000.
That's the one that's in
Is
my
still in your
garage.
garage, right? With the 18-inch wheels, they had to make the wheels 18 inches so the rest of the bike would appear to be proportionate. And again, that's the same motor, the same liquid-cooled CB1000 four-cylinder that has lived life in a whole bunch of different projects.
I think
John,
it's a CBR. It's a CBR one. It's
It's a CBR motor, tuned for the mid-range.
And you probably look like it's probably built for you because you're like tall.
It's just one of those things that there's a lot of things that have just stalled in my garage.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of them. If anybody needs a Honda CB1 big one, desperately to fulfill your life dreams, talk to John. Yeah, I'm sure he'd like the space in his garage back. It's just it's one of those things. I bought it because I always wanted to have one, because to me it was kind of like the logical progression of.
We need to get it running. Honestly,
things.
I think it would run.
Yeah,
I
I'm sure
remember
it would.
We had it running.
Yeah.
I think
The
pulled
day I brought it home.
we had it running. I think we ran it out of gas. I think it
Yep.
would I bought parts for it. It's been one of those little fucking
It's just been a thing.
slow fuck.
Yep.
fucking thing.
It's just what happens, dude. And that's look. I got a Super Magna in my garage that's desperately holding a shelving unit up, and that's all it's doing. You know, the garage is going to sink around this motorcycle. That's what's happening.
No, I'd like that. I'd like to get it out. I'd like to actually. I don't really want to just sell it. I'd like it to be running. I'd like us to have some fun with it. I'd like to ride it, and then whatever happens with it, who cares?
And when we talk about doing things like that, a friend of ours' bike is in the shop right now, and it doesn't have a ton of miles on it, but the tires are from 2012.
Correct.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
They're a little bit woody.
The plastic in this laptop has more grip than the tires on that motorcycle.
No, once you grind down a good quarter-inch of that stuff, you can get to some meaty shit in there.
Just smoke the back tire off.
Just
a little bit.
well, we got to smoke the front tire
We're gonna
too.
light them up anyway.
We got to
Dude,
smoke the front tire as well.
It can't be any worse than you see like the canyon carvers out in California. There's a lot of them are very talented, not dogging them or anything like that. But like some of their videos where they're like, "Oh shit, look, I got threads hanging out on my back tire.
Just big
we
strings.
gotta take it easy this time." And then they're still going 145, and I'm just like,
with 2 foot long strings coming out of the back of the tire
Yeah.
every
As long
lap.
as you don't have too deep of cracks in the sidewalls, it's okay.
Well,
Now, Chris,
when your tire,
hang on.
what you got?
So since Swearingen threw in another $50,
Jesus Christ, man!
I think he threw another 50.
I haven't
This
been
is the
paying
bottle-
attention to it, so you guys have to chime in.
I kind of lost my.
You guys gotta-
My
you-
phone died, but I
I'm
think
not
he threw
looking.
another 50.
Swedgen definitely threw us $50.
I'm not
And-
looking. You guys got to
And
bring me
since
up.
this is the bottle he sent us a
Yes,
while
it is.
ago,
Yeah, that's the OK.
and Chris has just asked for another half shot.
Woohoo!
There we go.
Get sloppy.
I mean,
There you go.
Here's the Swangen.
If we're doing it, I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
it. That's how we
right
got
on,
into
right
the
on, right
TWT
on. I
auto.
believe in this. I believe.
I mean, I'll do a shot.
If we have to get dirty on a shot, we can get dirty on a shot.
Here's the
I mean, it's
Swangen.
winter. What else are you going to do?
Oh, it's going down.
It's Thursday night in wintertime, man. It's Cleveland, Ohio.
I always say there's never a bad night to drink in Cleveland.
No, it's never. It's kind of,
doesn't
the
exist.
city's sort of built for it.
Yep.
So, well, with that, I think we should definitely have a little roundioso of the
So here is
shooters and suitors and snooters.
Roundioso?
This is Swedgen sent this in?
Swangen.
Yeah, here. I got you this one.
Oh.
Bouger.
There's one.
Thank you kindly. I'll give that. I'll pass that to Phil.
There's two.
Two round eye cocksucker.
With a nice key.
Swangen. Again, watch the Woo episode of Deadwood.
Yeah.
And you have to take a shot every time he says, or anytime anyone says cocksucker, and you'll die.
Cocksucker.
You will not. Yeah, that's it.
I'm actually just going to sip this a little bit.
Oh, that is
Oh,
nice.
shit.
Oh, I have no problem with that. That's
Hey,
tasty.
gentlemen, just look at the screen when you get a chance.
What you got there? Hey, redonk, baby, redonk. This
Thank you,
this
redonk.
whole people throwing money at us, that's a new experience. I'm not.
Yes.
People throwing booze at us.
Yes, Swedgen, I do like Oak and Eden.
Yeah, this
Oaken is delicious.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
quite tasty.
It's very, very declawed also.
tight, very declawed. There's no pain in my mouth right now.
Or
Yeah.
throat.
Or throat. Yep, that's it. The
We can almost see the wooden.
Bourbon
wooden
Fairy
piece that's in there,
approves.
too.
oh, is that got a piece of
There's
wood
some
in
wood
there?
in there. Yeah.
Is that got a ladder inside of it?
It's not Portuguese.
It's so they can't climb out of the
that
bottom?
one yet.
Oh
That one's
my
got to age some.
God, that is so good.
I need to find a barrel to put that in.
That
actually.
is so tasty just the way it is. Don't change anything.
I
it's
love
perfect.
you just the way you are.
Cheers.
That is
Cheers.
so nice.
Indeed, cheers.
Slancha.
Don't
Slancha.
change
Here's
it.
to our podcast. Hey, a little
pros.
tip out there for your friends from Cleveland. If you're old and your body hurts, and you go to the you go
Who are you
to,
looking at?
You go to yeah, exactly, Chris. This one's for you.
I'll tell you what, Vegas was interesting. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was worried about. I was like, I was struggling a little bit at times, but then it was like, everybody's got their own little struggle.
When we were walking down Fremont Street and I caught our reflection in one of the myriad reflective surfaces, and I saw us wandering down Fremont Street, we looked like we just escaped from the fucking infirmary. It was so broken.
Like a guy's walking out of the locker room after a football game.
It was.
Well,
You know
the
what's funny?
sounds-
Coming off the
sounds
battlefield.
coming out of everything too.
Each one of us has our own distinctive limp,
Yeah,
and we all have a very distinctive canter.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like, it's kind of this thing. It's like, it's a little less stylish than a mosey. It's a saunter. No, it's broken. And then as we're broken and we're clocking our 18,000th step of the day, who goes flying over our fucking heads? The fabulous flying fairy goes zooming past us at a speed only achievable by unladen sparrows. Fucking goes overhead.
European or North African?
North African, of course. Yeah. Fucking goes overhead, and we were like, but we all looked at each other and went, dude, fucking manned up.
I know.
They fucking manned up. He straight up manned up. He manned up. He fucking faced each and every one of us and went, eagle, as he went over our heads. It was brilliant.
It was
majestic.
very high. It was a lot higher than I thought it would.
It was high as fuck.
Yeah.
John, how high was it?
Higher than giraffe pussy.
It was it was higher than Sleepy.
Hey, no.
Nobody was higher than Sleepy.
Sleepy, you started like getting over medic. You were trying to nurse your knee, and there was a point where Sleepy was just in like, yeah.
I watched Dan hand over a bag of green, right?
Okay.
He did. Night one or night zero, Dan gave you a bag of pharmaceuticals.
It was gone in 2 days.
Not what?
We're getting on the airplane. I get busted because I have a little bit of water in my bottle in my backpack. Sleepy ate the evidence. Sleepy ate all of the evidence.
Of course. Can't have that floating around in your baggage.
Dude,
That was a great flight on the way home.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you weren't even in the same airport John and I were. Like, you were having a whole different flight. Like, yeah.
The machine, man. Look at the machine. Can you get that machine going?
Dude, he went plaid so hard.
I might have a little.
It was okay.
That's exactly how you were talking.
We don't care that you did it. We're just mocking you for doing it.
It was just that speed of like everybody on our trip was kind of traveling at a different speed. Like everyone just has their own jam.
I was just watching.
And
I was just taking it all in, man. It was great.
And we had so many things, like we didn't know that we had an itinerary.
No.
But man, we were busy every minute. Yep. We kept going every fucking minute. We had something that showed up that we had to check out and investigate and learn more about.
That one day we caught a nap, man. I felt great.
But you know what? I never felt like I was on a tour bus.
No.
I just felt like I was with a dude who knew things. Or knew
It was just every 21 minutes another Uber would show up.
Yeah.
And we'd get awkward in the back. Like, we just awkwardly fold into an Uber every 21 minutes. Every 21 minutes, we'd get into a different black car, and we would disappear.
Do I remember correctly that the one driver was telling us about how he killed a man?
So I don't think that was the story that he actually killed a guy.
Oh, okay.
But that he was, like, instrumental to somebody dying.
Yes,
was
that
the point,
yeah.
right? Was the whole idea.
Was that the almost head-on crash guy?
No, that was when John saved us from getting hit by the...
the Cadillac Escalade. Yeah. We're going to test all 8 airbags.
The Fresh alert system.
The Fresh alert system. Oh, seriously. Fuck that. Dude, OnStar's got nothing on Fresh.
Yeah, it was...
You are about to have a crash. No.
He made me go twice. I'm like, the first time, I'm like, he's like, not, I'm like, react. I'm yelling. Like,
yeah, John threw 3 at the guy. John was like, first.
Oh,
that's it. Everybody who's listening to the headphones is just bleeding from their ears right now.
I tried to stay away.
Welcome to go Fresh 1. But that's that's that trip. That trip was so crazy because from the moment that I started the trip until the moment I ended the trip, I never had a boring, like, what are we going to do now moment.
Goodness, no.
No, we fucking ran. We squeezed the juice from that lemon till it ran down our thigh.
I'm a little sorry we didn't just poke our heads into Chicas Bonitas, but yeah, whatever. Next time.
We passed it.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so painful. It's like, I mean, pay $5. I mean, just.
I just think it's funny that every driver we had, when we would be like, because both Robot and I have both had good experiences at Chicas Bonitas, and so we are the 2 whitest people ever that will give you the 5-star recommendation for Chicas Bonitas. But every single driver we had was like, oh man, yeah. Oh, that place. Oh, that place.
Well, the one guy was like, "Yeah, my
That place.
paycheck goes real quick." I was like, "Yeah, you know
I'm a
it's gonna be
VIP
good."
there.
I'm a VIP at Chicas Bonitas.
You know what? You know what?
I mean, just blast in there, maybe one drink, get
Robot
a lap
has a
dance,
video
get the
on
fuck
this.
out. That would have been right.
2-drink minimum.
It's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
There's an entire robot video about this.
Look, we made a fucking picture disappear.
Okay,
in
give me my
short.
2 drinks now.
Right.
Here's $20. Give me a quick lap
it's
dance.
good.
Okay, let's go.
Right. Don't make eye contact.
Don't you look at me.
Don't you dare look at me. Yeah, it was so good. We need to do that more often.
I can totally see a robot video on this now in my head.
Give me robot do a 20-minute format on Chicas Bonitas.
We should
Like,
have bum rushed it, so to speak.
I honestly don't know why we didn't. I have no idea why we.
It's one of my biggest regrets in my life.
It's okay. It'll still be there.
There's always next
It
time.
ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, there definitely is always next
It ain't
time.
going nowhere. It's just fine the way it is. Man, that is it. Anybody else got anything else? Fuck, man. Anybody else bought anything stupid while we weren't paying attention?
I mean,
How many
Okay,
things
just
ha-
making
how
sure
many
it's
things have
wintertime.
You bought? Well, no, you bought a bunch of Moto Morinis.
Shit, that was today. I wrote that check today. They fucking my hand hurts from that. That's it. Yeah.
That's exciting, though.
It is exciting.
It is very exciting.
I hope it works out well. I mean, it'll
Well,
run
and
its
what did
course.
Sean say last week at the end of the podcast?
Oh, what did I say at the end?
He asked if he could come by.
Oh, yes.
Tell the people.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to come by and help put them together when we get them in.
I'm sure Phil would love
Yeah,
to have somebody.
free labor. Let's go.
Okay, but not only that, but we've done this before at the shop. You know, Chris has built his share of bikes, absolutely. And we've done a whole build-off with the SSRs and that kind of stuff. We're going to have some new SSRs coming in, too, which are kind of exciting. We're going to talk about that next week. We got all new blood for the SSR lineup, but that's for next week's podcast. But, yeah, I think we should because it is a team-building experience when we get new bikes in. And to see a bike come out of the crate and spend some time with it and see the way the people who built the bike want that thing to be taken care of. They want that thing to be presented to you. To see a thing show up in the crate and then to whatever period of time later, fire it up, maybe take that first ride on the bike, right? It's very fucking rewarding. It feels really good to do it. And it does get you up in the guts. It gets you up in the guts of the motorcycle. And I love doing it. I mean, it's one of my favorite things in the world is to be able to go like, oh, yeah, check it out. And Tom and I have seen, if we go to the factory sometimes, I want to meet certain guys. There's guys I know.
Yeah, there's some engineers in Japan that
Yeah.
one of these days I'm going to meet in public.
And I might
it's gonna
hurt
be an
them.
entire,
It might be bad. It might be
it
ugly
won't be
for
good.
them.
I was going to say, there's some people that I never want to meet.
Right.
Yeah, right. And I can tell you, like every fifth or sixth bike I
meet,
prep,
after this week,
Yeah.
if I meet the son of a bitch that decided not to put the multimedia thing in the GTS 300
Right.
base model,
Yes.
I'm going to punch that guy in the
punch that guy in the dick. And I promise you, sometimes on some bikes, I can open a bag of hardware and I look at the bag of hardware to build the bike, and I'm like, oh, Timmy was working. Timmy was working.
Yep.
Three not enough of these and 6 too many of those.
Yep.
Right? It is very, very. Now you do 1,000 of a certain bike.
Timmy's part of a program. Don't all just criticize Timmy. He's
telling you,
just
man.
happy to have a job.
Timmy's
man.
happy to have a job. If
He-
Timmy
he
shorts
start-
me.
He started at MotoGo.
I'll never,
Dude, Timmy shorts me 4 fucking M6s next
Oh,
time
God,
around.
no kidding.
Fuck Timmy.
I'll never forget the guy that I ran. You know, the guy who used to borrow 50 cents, the adult, the adult work program downtown Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he would always hit me up. Hey man, can I get 50 cents for? He had issues, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that fucker comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm going to retire. I'm like, what? He's like, no, I got Opers. I'm retiring. Oh. I'm like, you've been working over here putting together wooden jigsaw puzzles for the city of Cleveland or whatever. And you're ready to fucking retire at fucking 47 years old.
I don't want to hear about
I'm
your
like,
pension from Lighthouse for the Blind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, God damn it.
That is
son
hard.
of a-
That
I'm
is
like,
hard knocks. Yeah.
I'll never retire.
Yeah.
You're retiring.
Again,
They're just going to put a kibble tray in the back and lock the door on me when they go away.
there's absolutely. I mean, when somebody has that life dream. I'm gonna run a motorcycle shop. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take the hobby that I love and I'm gonna make it into a business.
And then I'm gonna hate it every day of my life.
No, I don't. But that's
Oh,
the trick.
no, I
is
mean me.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. But the trick is being able to say, okay, this is the way the wind is blowing right now. We're gonna have this neurodivergent fucking operation where everyone just kind of chooses their own adventure and says, this is the way I'm going to do it. And if you're not having a good time, tell me. We'll make changes.
And margaritas.
And margaritas. Right. There will be cocktails.
There was no shortage of cocktails on the Vegas trip.
No,
I'll tell you
I
that.
said no. Every time I come up, he's like, "Do you want to try this Mai Tai mix? I'm trying something new."
Yeah.
It's been a while since Mai Tai Friday. So.
We haven't had Mai Tai Friday in a minute. But there is
You
that
took
kind
notes. You were taking notes.
Yeah.
On different things. That was impressive. You're like,
I had work to do in Vegas. Like there were some supreme.
We weren't in
tasting
Vegas
things.
to go to motorcycle shows.
no,
we were
no.
in Vegas to go to tiki bars.
I did notice that.
Because you
guys
talking,
got Shanghai.
You were talking about Stefan changing up the menu a little bit. So this is totally research.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's research.
A little
I mean,
recon
I
research.
think we came away smarter.
He needs to have Red Dwarf pizza.
Oh, don't we all though? That is it. That recipe, whatever that is,
It's the crack.
it is. I think it's. I think it's.
dude.
Crack cocaine.
It's
right
like
there-
the
right there.
weirdest.
Think about how many options there are in Las Vegas. And what did we do twice?
I know.
I mean, we could have
So we
farted
did.
out.
We did Nacho Daddy twice,
Yeah.
and we did Red Dwarf twice. Okay.
Nacho Daddy's fine, but
Nacho
the
Daddy's
Red Dwarf was.
Dude, for my ass, Nacho Daddy was like, oh my God, I could have fucked that burrito. It was so good.
It was
dude.
amazing.
Yeah, dude.
It was
Oh.
great.
Plus, for me, if it wasn't a tiki drink, it was the michelada.
The micheladas,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And that is true. Sean
You
was
walking around with your red lips the whole time,
Were they that red?
like you just blew a fucking.
I didn't even think to ask. I just was so. I was.
Oh, man,
I
it
was
was-
very into it.
It was every time I turned around, Sean had another michelada in his hands. It was like, Jesus Christ.
And then I even
Dude,
had
you can
whatever
buy
the fuck I
tahine.
bought, and then I gave you the straw, which also had like 4 inches of that stuff on it.
Oh,
You were sucking the Michelada cock hard.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I sure was.
Yeah, whatever you got was just mango.
Yeah,
it was just a bucket of mango.
There was
You just ordered a big
There
fruit
was a
bowl.
communication error, and I was too embarrassed to go.
You
away
thought you
from
ordered a strawberry smoothie.
It. Yeah, I was like,
And what you
this
got instead-
strawberry smoothie, no milk, no leche. You know,
Right.
Right. I'm trying to be cool, and then she hands me starting this thing, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a lot of mango. I like mango. Maybe it's part of
It
the
was 3
strawberry.
pounds of
put
mango.
When
Yeah.
you said no, she thought you didn't want the strawberry.
I think the 3 of us got our USDA requirement of mango on that one quote drink.
Oh,
that
dude,
We
had.
all had to go
My
on that
rickets
cup.
Yeah,
went
we did.
away, like everything.
It was three men, 1 cup.
Oh yeah, my rickets went away. My scurvy stopped. It was amazing. It was. Yeah.
And somehow it was less attractive than 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah, no, there was nothing good about
I don't know how that worked out that way.
But I think it did fill 3 men's bellies.
It did. I gave up on it. I actually was like, I'm going to win because I don't throw any food away. I eat all the food. I raccoon supper like a son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, I'm going to have at it.
After every podcast, there was anything left over on the table. I just take it to work. And
No,
Phil's
it's going.
just like,
We
then
didn't
he went in for a
we
second
didn't
bowl
do
of
Golden Tiki, but what was it? Glitter Gulch
We did Glitter Gulch Tiki, which is the new tiki bar there.
and
that
Red
is-
Dwarf, and
Red Dwarf,
then
yep.
the pirate one.
We did Stray Pirate.
Stray
Pirate.
Pirate.
Stray
yeah.
Pirate. Very good tiki. Arr. Very
But you've
good.
been to Golden Tiki. Many
I have been to
times.
Golden Tiki a bunch of times. You've been to Golden Tiki with me.
I have been. I have been there as
You've
well.
been to
It's
Golden Tiki,
fantastic.
right?
I thought we went to Frankie's, or we went to both.
No, we went to both.
Oh, right.
I want to talk about the tamales I had at Broadacres.
Fuck yeah,
oh my
dude.
God, it's insane how good they are.
Okay, 1, Broadacres. If you go to Las Vegas and you're there on a Saturday or a Sunday, you have to go to Broadacres. Broadacres. You like Broadacres? What a very normal sounding,
Suburban development sounding name.
what a Norman Rockwellian
how many
name.
how many holes is the golf course?
Okay,
Yeah, right.
it's not.
Couldn't be
It's-
farther from the. Couldn't be farther.
It is a par 40. It is all of the Mexican flea market ever wrapped up into one. This is straight up. At the end of this aisle, we have the entire Fry cowboy boot display, but it's open air. We have dishwashers, dryers, laundry machines, brand new, Maytag.
I like the tent full of power tools
Yes.
that are, and they're not cheap bullshit. It's all DeWalt,
It's
Milwaukee,
DeWalt,
like
Milwaukee,
it's all
yeah.
good power tools, like just and good prices. I looked at some of those.
I
things.
did
I'm
too.
Like, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there, and it's just a flea market that's gotten out of control 20 years ago. And
You're not
now-
getting batteries, but you're getting the tool
right
for cheap.
Exactly, right. That's absolutely
Well, they didn't
true.
have the batteries on the truck.
Well, there's a lot of that too.
Well,
So
and these days, the reality is you're buying the battery system. You're not buying the tool.
yeah,
the tool's easy.
The tool's just
But
a way to buy
Amazon has
batteries.
the knockoff batteries for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, for a fraction of the price of a real Milwaukee.
What makes Broadacre special is take the largest flea market you've ever been to in your life. Check. We got that. We can visualize that. We know what that's like. Booths, tents, Honda generators, the whole deal. Right? We know how that works. But now in the middle of it, put live bands
Yeah.
That was cool.
and people dancing and a smorgasbord of food. Ridiculous. And not just like a guy who popped his little trailer in and
Oh, no.
selling tamales.
Full food hall.
These are 40-foot containers that are permanently in situ, and then they open them up. They bring everything out of the 40-foot container every day that the place is open. People have had their leases at Broad Acres, their spot, for 20 years.
Dude, going back to the music.
Yeah.
What was really cool too is like because it's not commercial, but it's commercial-y. They could have like hired bands that were like as like kind of the culture or something, but no, they were all legit, real deal, like the guys. Like
Man, I really wish Oscar was there. He really would have loved those bands.
Oscar's been there before with me, and we've had a very good time there. And we've also been there drinking our giant micheladas, right?
Yeah.
The quart size, the 46-ounce, because, well, for $1 more, I should just have a 64 ounce.
It's a bargain.
It is a bargain. I
You're
can't
just-
say
you're
no
saving
to
money
it.
at this
And
point.
the girl who gave me mine gave me the extra clamato.
She did. She did make sure you had extra clam.
Yeah.
She sure did.
She
A girl
gave you an
that'll
extra.
give you an extra clam.
She
is
gave her.
something special.
She gave Sean an extra
I'll
squirt
take
from
all
the clam.
I
That's
can
right.
A little extra squirt from her clam never hurt anybody.
get. I love clam.
When I went, I was like, I saved my elote till the end. I saved my street corn until the very end of the experience because I was like, I wanted it so bad, but I overserved myself. So I went up and I was like, elote, that's a corn on the cob with all the things. Eat that, $4, you're fine. No, I'm going to have elote already in the cup because I'm posh. So they have like the small cup, and then they have the medium cup, and then the large cup. I was like, I'm going to go medium. I'm not a pervert. I'm going to go medium. $8. That was fucking 22 ounces of corn.
And the fixings, not just corn.
Have
Like
you ever
the
eaten
cheese,
22
the
ounces of
cream.
corn before? It's a lot of fucking corn, in case you weren't
I've
sure.
eaten too much corn.
We're Ohioans
Crapped
at
my
that.
pants.
Seriously, I got to the 50 when somebody was like, I hit water. When somebody was eating their elote and they were like, I've hit water.
Yeah.
I hadn't hit water yet.
Well, let me ask you
I
guys.
just
'cause
mowed all the good stuff off the top and left the
I
rest.
saw
good.
you guys. What was the stuff? Was that like a ring of like 1-inch thick butter, or what was that?
Like cheese and sour cream.
Cheese,
and shit.
sour
Yeah.
cream,
Like a creme fraiche kind of a thing.
mayonnaise,
Mayonnaise, yeah.
all the stuff, tahine, everything. It's everything you could ever put on corn. It's all the things on corn. And I ate it, and I ate it until I was just sick of eating it.
Yeah, it's like a jar of mayonnaise.
It was like,
Yeah, it was a lot.
I don't give a fuck.
it was
I
so
love
much.
mayonnaise.
It
I'll
was
eat fucking
delicious.
mayonnaise.
It was great, but it cured me.
Sure. for
I'm
like-
done. I'm done.
I wish I would have had the hot dog. They had a fucking hot dog there. I saw some of them set up on the thing.
You should have had
It was
the
like
tamales.
it was a foot long hot dog, but it was like fucking jacked
Question,
with all
because-
kinds of good Mexican stuff.
I don't remember much about the flight home, but
Yeah.
was there any repercussions of eating that corn on the flight home at all?
Oh, no, that's good for you, man.
There were repercussions here in
Yeah.
that toilet when we were doing the podcast.
You had an episode out there for a while,
Oh no, there was a whole day. There was a whole half a day where
and that was before the elotes.
we went to the Hippy Dippy
yeah.
Kingdom. We went to the coffee shop Kingdom with Sean. And we went to like Narnia.
Mothership.
We went to Narnia. We went to the spot that shouldn't fucking be in Las Vegas. It was a very restful, spiritual, mindful place. It was demure. It was very thoughtful. It was charming. And we went there for breakfast because every other place was gang fucked for breakfast. So we showed up at this place. We got in line. None of us are qualified to order at this joint. We didn't. You have to be at least a 7th level fucking barista to order anything at this place. So I was like, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to order? And I ended up ordering a kombucha just because I needed to give my intestines a fighting chance. I just needed something to get me back in line again because I had too much fun.
Spicy phlegm is always good.
You know what? It was what I needed to get centered. And then we went to the world's biggest flea market, and I had so much fun. We had a blast. It was great. It was every experience you'd want to have anywhere in the world, except for you're like, why the fuck? Wait, we're in Vegas. Of all the glitzy bullshit that is Vegas, this is the opposite of that. This is the opposite of sequins and feathers and fakey whatever. This is real people selling real shit that they just stole last Friday.
I didn't feel like I wanted to take a shower when I was at the flea market.
No.
Compared to like Fremont, I was like,
Fremont Street is such a fucking parade of
but it's not even scummy. I mean, I've been to worse places than that.
no, but it just feels gross just because the people. Yeah,
I love it, man.
That's
I fucking.
That's
hang out
kind of
on
one of
street.
the things I like about Las Vegas, though. It's a little bit of a room of requirement. Kind of what you're there for, you'll kind of gravitate toward, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be like showpiece glitz. There is definitely a real human side there.
I mean, the fantastic thing would be to be, ridiculously wealthy and doing Vegas with just all kinds of money to splash around.
A few years ago,
like could you
Patreon
imagine?
money.
with Patreon
So
money.
yeah, if you joined at the $2,500
I mean,
level,
don't get me wrong.
So
John,
If you join at the $2,500 level, you can be in our helicopter.
John will
no, you
sign
use
a
all the-
golden toilet. For
what is
me or
that? What is it?
something.
Area 51 where you can eat at the top of the thing.
Oh my
'Cause
word!
I went to the
My scruples, that's not a lot. So
Can be
we'll
bought.
see.
Used all the Patreon money on the large elote.
Well,
get the extra big.
so
What do I have to throw myself off of to get a $2,500 Patreon?
a quick interesting observation though, so remember at the very last night I snuck off and went to that John
you
Summit
told-
show.
I got more of an answer than I wanted on that one.
I love that. But that was at the Fontainebleau Hotel, which is kind of like the newest, fanciest, whatever thing.
Oh, that's different. I thought you were talking about the top of the MGM Grand, but go ahead.
No. But it's a lot of posh. It's a lot of money being thrown around, but
Sure.
it's also not. There's no taste.
No,
There's no taste.
There's no taste.
You said some people were vomiting. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone was yakking in the can next to me. That was fun. But it was a very nice can.
But I think Vegas is the land of amateurs.
And what was happening in the can next to the person vomiting? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and these are fully walled-in stalls.
Yeah.
Like
Which-
these are.
Which Phil and I both agree. That's how every bathroom should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were
Walled
nice,
off or
but-
having
You just
somebody
have
vomit
one
next to you.
bathroom, and every stall goes down to the ground, and it doesn't matter whether it's a boy or a girl. Everybody's got their privacy, and it's a safe space for everybody.
Oh yeah, no the bathroom.
That solves
Is
a
it
lot of
Piju?
problems.
I can't remember. There's a place
For
in
the
Napa
people that have problems.
that
It
does
doesn't
just
matter.
They have one big room. It's all stalls, and you have one like sinks in the middle, and that's it.
Yep.
Not a fucking novel concept,
No,
people.
it really,
Here's
it's
the
really
thing.
easy.
The only room in there that I give up one fucking tick of my concern about is where you're actually making the poop come out of your body.
Yeah.
And in that room where you're making the poop come out of your body, I think that should be a fucking chapel.
Dude,
I think that room
I mean, honestly,
should
those
be
of us
sacrosanct.
those of us that have to shit in a punk bar.
I
Really, it's
shit
just a
at the
hole in the
grog
ground.
shop one time. Oh my god!
Oh my God.
I will tell you,
The best shit experience. I mean, best worst shit experience of my life. And my buddy's like, "I'm gonna watch the door for you." I'm like, "Thank you." And I sit down. I'm taking a shit, and I look up, and he's inside. I'm like, you probably could have watched the door from the outside.
on the outside. But I will give
but-
points to Red Dwarf because it's the first time I've shit behind a shower curtain in a long time.
Oh, okay.
And so
No,
the Red
no, we've been to band camp.
Oh yeah.
Let's just say it weren't no Buckies.
The point is, the one bathroom that men have accessible to them at Red Dwarf, the only thing between you and a poo is a shower curtain.
Yeah.
That's punk rock, right?
That's
That
more
is
than you get at the
legitimately-
grog shop circa 19
Well,
fucking
again,
90 diggity.
we've all known the worst toilet in Scotland. If you're a train spotting fan, I promise you, we've all been there. Like we know that experience.
Now I'm having flashbacks of fucking Mardi Gras party.
We all know the one. There's been one in our lives. We've all been there. We've done that. But I promise you,
I didn't have a choice.
with Las Vegas, you get
when you
all
gotta
of
go,
the
you gotta go.
amateurs. The people that are there are amateurs. They're new to this. They're not good at it. They're new to it. Whatever it is, they're not good at it. But what we learned
Meow Wolf,
was
that's what I was thinking of.
that the servers in Las Vegas, the woman who took our order and delivered us cocktails at Red Dwarf on our second round, Red Dwarf our first round, nobody was there. It was us. Literally, we were on stage. And we got great service, and we got great food, we got great pizza, and we got great drinks. That was the first night, night 0. We went back on Saturday night. Don't go anywhere on Saturday night, my friend.
Yeah, different.
But we sat down. She relocated us to outside. We got cocktails.
I'm not
She
sure
was
that
the
was.
best.
I'm not
I
sure
fuck-
that was an upgrade. I think she was like, we have to get these guys.
No,
out.
no,
No,
we decided to get away.
She was awesome, man.
But
No,
I'm
I'm
going to
teasing
say
with you.
we got 7 ingredient cocktails faster than anyone else in that room. We got our food faster than anyone else in that room. That one bartender, that one server, she managed to make that place invisible. She cared about what we needed, and she got it to us fast. We never were thirsty. We never were hungry.
Nobody demanded anything either.
No.
Like, you know, that's not our
Was she
style. but I'm
compensated?
saying, like,
Oh, she was compensated. But here's my point, that Vegas, the people who are there going to Vegas are fucking bad at it. But the people who work in Vegas are good at it. And
yeah.
she was good at it. And the vast majority of the people that we ran into were good at it.
and the thing is when you see those people just like not take advantage of
Yeah.
like the idiots, but make money from them. Not for good, sir. But I'm saying the people that are just like, ugh.
Right.
It's like, you can't even feel it. Like I'm like,
what
well
they're there
done.
for.
Yeah, well done.
That's exactly right.
that's
That's
what
what
it
you're
is.
there for.
That's what they're there for.
And the fact that they can wrangle fucking idiot, fucking Midwestern dumb shit, fucking baseball caps on backwards, losers. And the fact they can wrangle them and get the money out of their wallet, get the services rendered, and get them stuffed into a fucking Uber and home safely is shocking that they can do it on that scale 365 days out of the year.
Well, I didn't even realize that those bars were open that late. So like when
They
we
don't
were leaving,
close.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I believe it was the manager, the general manager of Golden Tiki, who said, "We don't have locks.
Right.
We're just there. We're
Yeah,
just
we're
open."
there.
It's like, it's terrifying
But
to
those,
think that.
those servers at 4:35 in the morning have to be dealing with some just amazing individuals.
You know, did we ever talk about the Gold Spike episode, getting frisked?
No, we didn't. John and I had a bad night. John and I had a bad night because the ground floor of the Gold Spike decided they wanted to be a, what did they say? A nightclub?
A club.
A nightclub. So they wanted to be a nightclub, but I was there as a resident. I was there as a tenant. I was there as a
You
patron
lived there.
of the. I was there as a patron of the hotel.
Well, he's got a condo on like the 13th floor.
Yeah. And what's funny is like, in order for me to get to my elevator, I had to be escorted by security every step of the goddamn way. And like, no shit, Robot comes in, and Robot, who drove there, is carrying everyday carry, like a pocket knife or whatever Robot's carrying. And so Robot,
Well, first we go in.
Yeah.
And we were heading up to your room. We're like, you know what? Let's get a drink. Mm-hmm. We turn to go sit at the bar.
Yep.
Guy throws his hand on your shoulder and is like, "Let's." Sorry, sir. You have to go get frisked. If you're gonna drink, you have to go back outside and get frisked.
as we were hotel residents, just going to our hotel room, we did not need to be patted down. But they were literally photographing us, taking our ID, photographing us, patting people down if they wanted to be in the nightclub. You had to stand out in line, the velvet rope line. Meanwhile, there's 8 ugly fat people inside dancing.
Right.
Right.
So wait, if you were there and you were there, where the hell was I?
Outer space.
Ethereal. You were on a separate plane, Sleepy.
I think you had to go back to the room for something.
Right. John and I decided, John Robot and I
You and I
decided we
went
hadn't
back
had
to the
enough.
room for that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You went back to the submarine for that. Rock hard and full of semen. We went to the bar with Robot. So Robot got tagged on the knife.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you can put your knife in a locker for a couple of bucks." And I'm like, "No, he can't put his fucking knife in a locker. He's got a room. He's in my room. Like, we're guests of the hotel. And if he wants to have a knife and you got to tell him he's got to secure his knife, then he'll put it in a room."
Yeah.
So we go up to the room. He stows the knife.
We take a few cocktails,
We come, yeah,
as we do.
right to the head.
Take a few shooters right to the face. That's it.
So we come back down. We're like, okay, let's go get a big drink at the bar.
Yep.
Nope.
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 We got to get patted down again.
You went back to your room.
We got patted down again.
Well, then I got fucked off.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck this. I don't, you know, and then the guy's like, are you okay? I'm like, are you happy? I'm like, no, I'm not okay. You know?
No, John had a moment.
Well, I mean, like, I wouldn't go to a bar in Cleveland. If
Right.
I had to get patted down, I'd be like, fuck
As-
this. I'm not even going here.
The stories I have heard of the Gold Spike of ye olden days, the fact that it's not a double wide trailer and there's just some guy with no teeth going, just don't shoot each other. Now
It's
this
different.
nightclub bullshit.
It's different. Yeah, it's different. It's not the same thing.
And then I almost got busted. And then I was dancing around when they were frisking me. And he's like, you almost put your booty in my face. I'm
No. Well, again, well deserved. Well deserved. And when the guy patted me down, I was like, dude, you can go harder. And the guy was like, what? And I was like, go harder. And he's like, what? And I said, really get in there. Just really get in there. Like up to the third knuckle. Get up to the third knuckle. I said, I think you can do better. And they just did not, and the one guy, when you backed into the guy, so John kind of was like, oh baby, and John backed into the guy, and the guy had zero sense of humor about it.
No,
but meanwhile, the guy was like, fuck you, I'm the doorman, I'm security, and he tried to pull that I'm security thing, and I'm like, dude, we're both former law enforcement, we're both.
This is just another version of the waitress that has to deal with the asshat Midwesterners.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were the asshat Midwesterner.
no doubt. There was no doubt.
But you're protecting the Gold Spike.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
This is all security theater we're participating in,
I
my
didn't
friends.
even have that at the Fountain Blue.
Right.
Exactly.
They're trying to make it look like shishi by having a line. and having
Dude, I have
security.
literally carried
But nobody's
Walmart.
in
At the
there.
Fountain Blue, there's 97 lines of Coke all the time.
I literally
Right.
carried 100 pounds of Walmart groceries through the fucking Bellagio. Fuck you and your Gold Spike.
Right.
I am here just
So-
fucking manhandling this bullshit through the Bellagio.
It was
Fuck
very
you.
funny watching a property, an ancient Vegas property that used to be known for penny slots and bad choices.
And now it's just bad choices.
And now they're trying to be like, look, we're a quirky hotel, but we're also a nightclub. And no,
We're an exclusive nightclub.
you're failing it.
Not everybody gets in
There
here.
was there was
Zappos money can only go so far.
there were several times when we were walking around where the dichotomy of a dude just drove by in a $2.3
Yeah.
million car, and then this dude next to us is foaming at the mouth and asking for something.
It is true. You look left and you're like extreme gratuitous wealth. And you look to the right and you're like human despair.
When I walked for donuts in the morning, there were so many people crashed out on the street in sleeping bags and stuff, and I was dropping
And
donut.
John,
Yeah.
did you get a baker's dozen?
Yes, I did.
Did you make it back to the room with a dozen?
No, I did not.
You did not.
I hooked some people up. I mean,
You got a big
Dude,
heart.
I need a
That's
fix.
John's got a big fucking
Dude,
heart,
I need a
man.
fix.
Well, the one guy,
John's got a
I
big
saw
heart.
the one guy, and I was getting ready to offer him. He's like, "Hey, man, can I get a donut?" I'm like, "Sure, you can get a fucking donut. Fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't need all these." And then there was one guy who he was all crashed out. He was hiding under his sleeping bag, and he had some stuff. And I was gonna try to just donut ferry him one there, but I thought I'd get stabbed. I was I was afraid of waking him up, and then and I have to be dealing with
the
a
hell?
fucking
I'm a
wildcat.
diabetic.
Which guy traded you the heroin for?
I can't talk about.
Oh,
No. That's evidence, man, at this point.
No, I was trying to get blowjobs off
Don't-
of homeless
don't
people for
incriminate
donuts.
That's what the powdered sugar's for.
The donut company had
The one guy that was like, "You just made my fucking day." I'm
Yeah.
like, great. That's fucking. If a donut makes your day,
and it's early.
Yeah.
It's early.
Pretty
Dude,
fucking
those
early.
donuts were really good though.
It's
well,
like
you had been
really-
crying, not crying. You'd been lusting
Yeah.
after a cinnamon thing, and
Oh, yeah, you were.
I got up in the morning and I'm like, well,
Cinnamon twist.
you know,
You
I-
are the best human being.
I was doing
He
my
is.
I was
no
doing my
question.
insomnia thing, and I was like, well, I got to get out of the room. I don't want to just lay here, and I don't want to wake these guys.
Our
up,
friend
so-
Kurt Edwards, Edwards from Kentucky, and John McElfresh are the two guys that in the morning will go out and they will make sure there's coffee. They will make sure there's donuts. They will actually enhance your experience so much by just being like, you wake up and you're new to the day. You're just a little baby bird in the day. And you look over and there's the mama bird. And the mama bird's got a fresh, tasty worm for you in the shape of either a cocktail or a donut or some fresh coffee. And you're like, it's because of these people that my life is so good. It's so
forgot-
rich.
Or a
One
garden
little
sprayer
part.
Yeah, go ahead.
bourbon.
You forgot one part. If you're on the top bunk, all that happens except for if you don't figure out how high it is. When you sit up, your head hits the fucking ceiling really hard. So besides that, all that happened, but you got to include
Our
that.
Patreon members don't understand that they bought you guys a submarine room.
It was.
They have no
I
idea.
may have woke you up, Sleepy, but it was with a fresh hot cup of coffee.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. I thought I was doing good getting up at 6, and you were already gone.
You guys were hot racking
Damn, all right.
in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty fucking solid, man. I gotta say.
No.
It was very
The kids
cool.
call it hot boxing.
No, that's
Yeah.
no, it's hot racking. Hot racking is when the other fella gets out and you jump right in.
Sean
man.
was banging at the door at 5:30, like, "Let me in! I can't get in!"
I was sitting over top of you while you were laying there sleeping, snoring, trying to suck your life force from you, but I couldn't do it.
That's why the cat sleeps on your chest.
Yeah.
The other thing I have to say that's a fucking goddamn, literally this, like the parable, the example of Las Vegas is you brought back all those donuts. And when you see a donut that's 7 inches long and 3 inches wide, and it's got chocolate on top of it, right?
That was
I think that's
that was
called-
a travesty.
I think that's called an eclair.
Okay, all right. So if you ever see a
Or
donut that's
Long John, actually.
okay, you can lay mommy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Bavarian cream, Boston cream, whatever
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want, you think, right? We know. But if it's 7 inches long and it's 3 inches wide and it's got chocolate down the top of
You're
it,
making Sean excited.
you know what's inside, unless you're in Las Vegas. And in which case, if you're in Las Vegas,
You got the penguin.
no, you do not.
You know what the penguin is, right?
Go ahead.
Guy gets off a ship and he's in Vietnam or whatever, and he's looking for a hooker, and he goes and he runs into one chick and he's like, no, I don't do that. I give you penguin though, and he's like, no, I don't know what that is. So he keeps going around and he keeps coming back to the same chick, and she's like, I'll give you a penguin. So can't find anything else. He's like, okay, I'll do the penguin. She's like, $20. Pull your pants down. So he gives her $20. He pulls his pants down. She runs away, and he goes running after her. Hey, where's he? He's doing the penguin walk. He got the penguin.
He got the penguin.
And you only get it if you're above
And
the
it's
$10
above the
level.
$5 a month level. Thank you very much for the patrons at home. That was the for me. That was the thing when I took a bite of that donut and I was like, fancy box, clever saying on the sides. You know,
Well, what was
so
the so it was called Pink Box.
pink box donuts.
So good you'll lick the box.
So good you'll lick the box. That was their big slogan. Their funny, haha.
They stuffed all their donuts in their boxes.
They literally put their money where their mouth was, and they came
They're
up with
the
a
commercial
slogan.
division of Renee.
They are exactly right. And when I grabbed that eclair, what was clearly an eclair, clearly a Boston cream something, clearly a Long John, any term that you have is fine. And I grabbed that thing and I took a big bite of it, and no cream presented itself. Nothing moist and wet was in my mouth. Just more donut. Ugh. And halfway through, sometimes they end up all on the one side. We know there's travesties of donut making that exist in this world, and I realized that was the perfect fucking symbolism I could run into for Las Vegas.
So dry cylinder.
It was truly,
Nothing. No matter how,
it was truly dry and pointless.
All glit
Right.
and no
Right.
substance.
no matter how much you bit
It
into
was
it,
all
nothing was coming.
exterior, no interior.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
it was what it was.
filling.
And I was like, yep, that's Vegas.
An empty soul.
Yeah, that was it. An overpriced empty donut. An overpriced empty donut.
Calories. No. Just
Dude,
carbs.
Robot showed up and had donuts, and he'd already had a 3-mile run.
Yeah.
Fuck, don't. God damn it, it's a donut, dude. It's a donut. Don't run over to get a donut. Don't do 3 miles of calisthenics. Don't do 3 miles of cardio just to come and have a donut with us by the fucking pool of the Gold Spike. No, he ran every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, God bless him.
You know, when I saw him, he looked misshapen at first, and then after I
That's
realized
just Robot.
well, then I realized he was a runner, and I'm like, well, that's
He
why
looked misshapen.
He said the same thing about you, John.
He looked misshapen at first. Yes, that's called 5% body fat.
I wasn't familiar with that at all.
He walked past a bright light. We could see through him.
That's how we made all those Ubers
How many
work.
pull-ups did he do on Fremont Street?
Oh, that was fucking. That was
What
insane.
the fuck happened? He just jumped up and had a fucking pull-up fit? Like, what was that?
Okay, that was weird. We were at the corner of Fremont Street and whatever Sahara Boulevard or whatever where James Bond put the car on two wheels, right? And so we're just kind of we're sauntering up there, and we got like the music going there, and the somewhat provocatively dressed naked girls over there, and then the whole thing's going on, and people are just generally getting their Vegas on, and Jeff just jumps up, grabs a fucking traffic control device, and starts chinning up.
But you forgot one thing. This isn't like there's a couple of intersections where it was people walking.
Yeah.
This was the one intersection where there were actually cars.
Yeah, there were
whizzing by
cars.
at,
That
like,
was what we said. It's the one where
55.
James Bond went on two wheels.
Yeah, but if like people don't really like the car, like they are going by right there at like 60,
Right there.
65 miles an
it's
hour.
it's game on.
Yeah.
And Jeff just decided, you know what I'm going to do? Make my friends feel bad.
Bip, boop, bop.
He just popped up there, and he ripped off a whole fucking adult-sized portion of chin-ups.
Look at me, I'm so light.
Look at me. I'm so fucking spring steel. And he did.
He's obviously in good shape.
And you know what we all
I mean,
did?
he weighs like 35
yeah, but it was
pounds.
his 48th birthday.
Yeah, that was his birthday.
He looked over and we're like having problems just looking up. I'm like,
I was like, my feet hurt, and I might explode. I had gone into 4 casinos.
I started calling 911. I'm like, this guy's going to need an ambulance.
No, you were posting video to YouTube.
Hey,
It's a new robot video
Here's
just
a
dropped.
fucking tip from your Uncle Phil. If you're in Las Vegas and you need a bathroom 5 minutes ago,
Just be in the street.
when you go into the casino because you need a bathroom 5 minutes ago, just run. Just run as fast as you can, because they hide the bathrooms, and the bathrooms in every casino in Las Vegas are all the way by the parking lot, because they don't want people coming off the street and being able to satisfy their most primal urge without passing 7,000 fucking goddamn slot machines, right? And so I learned by the time I got to my 4th bathroom in an hour that you need to hit the door of the casino.
In an hour.
Oh, it was bad. It was so bad.
watching you go.
The Hershey
Flomax
squirts
for
were
you.
strong in this
Watching
one.
you go through the stages, because you usually have a pretty good poker face, but you were there, and like at one point we're standing there, and I looked over, and you were like,
The level of
like
desperosity.
you're kind of looking around, like feeling it out, and then like you relaxed, and like okay, and then I looked back over, and you had like that like, this is serious now, and I need to figure out a solution very quickly. Like I watched your face change from that to then being like completely solid, like. We are on a motivational
We gotta go.
expedition at this moment now.
Contractions were only 30 seconds apart.
It was crowding.
I had a fucking turtle head poking out.
That's
It was so ugly. It was so ridiculous. And the problem is, you're at a retail mecca. You were at the point, like literally, okay, kids in China, kids in North Korea know where Las Vegas is, right? Like Las Vegas is Las Vegas. If you say somebody like, what's a unifying factor on planet Earth? It's fucking Las Vegas, right? You know, Las Vegas. And I'm at the epicenter of Las Vegasness. But you know what I can tell you is that in order to shit, I had to go into a place, look at a receipt, get the code off the bottom of a receipt that I didn't pay for, and then go past 3 security guards, get to a secret door, press in a fucking 7-digit code, open the door, and then go in and explode all over the inside of a fucking
It's
bathroom.
impressive what you were able to do under that type of duress.
I know. Knowing that they could just hose the street down, I would have just dropped trowel and let it rip.
I was thinking about
I've literally seen that in Vegas more than once.
I was thinking about giving the giant gorilla something to talk about.
There was a fucking homeless guy behind a shrub grunting one out. I was like, oh boy.
They do. They make the bathroom a destination event, right? They like, oh look, we made it to the bathroom. But when you do enter whatever casino, like Binion's or whatever, and you get in the door and you're like, okay, I need the bathroom. Stop, turn your brain off, race all the way to the backside, like race to the backside where they have like the showrooms and things like that, where the venues are, and you can see like, you know, Penn and Teller or whatever. Race all the way back there. And when you can see the back doors to the casino that open up to the parking area, the valet or whatever, when you can see that, look left and look right. That's where the bathrooms are. It's a 70-meter dash. It's a 70-meter run. Otherwise, you might shit on a fucking craps table. That could happen.
It's in the name.
It's
Just go
in
for
the
it.
name.
I mean, it's a crap stable.
It's so bad. And like there were times when I was sitting in a bath in a toilet there, I was actually thinking about like, let me just hang around and do 2.
Oh, yeah.
So I can get one ahead of the game for next time.
No, don't just like, you might want to just wait.
Dude, I was on a 12-minute turn, and
coming from a guy that had pretty chronic IBS.
yeah. I was just going to make it very clear. I'm normally a stalwart individual, like you said. I'm pretty cool under pressure. That's fine. But being on Fremont Street with a case of the trots is not optimal.
Well, and then you had to have for a moment like, oh shit, did somebody dose me? Like, are these the?
Well, I
I'm
thought
about
back
to,
to
get...
everything I had, and the best thing I could say was he gave me a gummy because he tried like hell. Dan couldn't get rid of those gummies.
No, we all did those gummies. Sleepy did them. I did them.
We all know the real problem was Nacho Daddy.
Oh, wow.
We all know the real problem was Nacho Daddy.
That's what I'm thinking.
I got super adventurous on my menu item because I had the Zeke whatever.
Yeah, the first day.
I had the super fancy shit. And the super fancy stuff bit me in the ass. I was like, I'm going to order adventurously off this menu in Las Vegas. Bad idea.
I think going back a second time was a bold move.
Okay.
Well, you had already been inoculated, so you're good.
What's another one?
What's another one? The fact that was our closer.
Go ahead and get the El Pastor. What could
possibly
possibly go wrong?
What's
with
the
that?
worst thing that could possibly happen?
Yeah, do you have a dish that's made in a weird way that could possibly
Could
have
I
some
possibly
contaminants
have some
in it?
Indian-inspired Mexican food? Because that's exactly what I ordered,
No,
my
wait,
friends.
no, what
Do you
you're
have the
saying
tikka
is-
martacos?
Excuse me.
I had the tikka. I had the chicken tikka
Tinga.
nachos.
Right, and they
Chicken
take
tinga
what they
nachos.
take
Tinga,
is
right.
they take the
I
goats
had
and
the
they have
tinga.
them smash the chicken meat with their
I think you
to get the right consistency.
your colon.
Then also, what flavors it is whatever's on the goat hoof.
There's
I'd
a guy
like-
back there using his toenails to tear up the chicken.
I'd like to tempt the fates. Yes. This is my
When
challenge.
she asked you if you could taste the tang, I almost threw up. Dude.
No, but I'll be tasting the taint tomorrow, please. Don't mind if I do. It was awful. And I did. I had like a half a day of downtime where even at the flea market, I was like on a brown watch the whole time. I was never
Brown
really
watch, code
safe.
brown.
Yeah, I was never truly okay. It was
Nothing
it was,
like patching it up with some
You
bowl
needed
full of mayonnaise.
I gave you the.
corn and mayonnaise. It's gonna be great, boys. I don't know what could possibly go wrong.
That is probably how you got home.
Do you remember some
probably
podcast
corked
listener
it up.
last week when said what we weren't fucking lubricated enough?
Yes.
Okay. I consider him
I
served.
think we've solved this.
Fucking solve that problem. Thanks to Sweargin.
Virgin.
Oh God.
Thanks to Dave Sweargin. We are the lubricity here is
properly
overflowing. Yeah. All right, that's it. I'm going to try to close this down again one more time.
And by the way, wait a
the
second.
By the way,
So hey, do you have anything more to talk about? Is there another joke?
Well, no, but there was a question. That was
Hang
relevant
on,
to
go
it.
back to
wait
that.
a second.
Weren't you going to go to pay something like? Didn't you have some emails?
We did.
Didn't we have some
got a
hate
couple
mail?
of them on the way. Yeah.
Okay.
No hate mail right now. No, we're good. Yep.
We
Yeah,
have to
that's-
try harder then.
We need to work better. I think this one's going to get a few.
The one guy was asking a long term.
Yeah.
So like the old bikes
Yeah.
that you guys used to talk about, like the Mad Ass and then the V7 and stuff like that, like bikes that you really loved for a while.
Yeah.
How are they still
The
fare in your
K-pipe.
minds now? The K-pipe.
Yeah, I saw the K-pipe.
sorry.
Okay. All right.
K-pipe didn't work out. V7s are pretty cool.
I love my V7.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it dramatically. I still think V7 is one of the greatest motorcycles ever built, and I still own one. I know Chris still has one, right? And I still
I'm currently working on
working on
I
one
love
right
it.
now. Like I still love a V7. V7 to me is a stalwart. It has all the integrity to me of like a Honda CB350. It just is perfectly fucking good at what it does, especially the Mark 1s, especially the 5-speeds. The 5-speeds were just no bullshit. They were just straight up legit good motorcycles. I know guys that put 80,000 miles on one, not a problem. It's just a good bike. It's very basic. It's very simple. It's not going to do wheelies and light your hair on fire. It's just a good bike.
We don't miss Royal Enfield. We don't miss
Not the 500s, not the old singles. We don't miss
the,
that at all.
The old iron nasty.
No, the K-pipe was fun, but the K-pipe just had its day. Like, it was a fun thing.
Well, the Grom hit.
Well,
the Grom hit, you're right. The Grom
biggest
hit.
problem with Kimco
Right.
is they just flash something
Yeah.
cool. Like, because we were talking about V-twin 350, the new Moto Morini.
Yep.
And the first thing I thought of was, well, what kind of horsepower did the Vinox
Vinox.
250 put
Right.
out? Because
Liquid cooled.
It was an amazing motorcycle.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it just wasn't enough.
right.
The Benelli 135. I mean, why would you want anything like a
No,
K-pipe when you
but
have
TNT
that?
135 legitimately is better than anything else that shows up.
Take your spade. And
I
stick
think
it
it's
in the
funny
dirt.
when Sleepy and I we were forced to transit a few of those. So we were forced to transit a few of those from our shop to our warehouse, which aren't next door to each other. There's more distance between those two than you like. There was a little bit of time on the freeway. And the fact that Sleepy and I can jump on bikes that Chris just put the batteries in and prepped and everything else, and they've got 0 miles on them.
So you're giving a real gentle break in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's really hard.
And then Sleepy and I are fighting for 1/10 of 1 mile an hour. So Sleepy and I are like one hand behind our backs.
Oh, dude, we were doing the flying Indian, like legs behind us, like
It was some.
They stripped down the Speedos. Or
Yeah.
like doing the whole,
Like we were cheating the wind so hard to see whose bike was 1/10 of mile an hour faster. And it's not like we're at full throttle for like 90 seconds. We're at full throttle for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're at full throttle for 9 minutes on 2 bikes that still have the crate dust on them.
I'm like exhaling, trying to see if that helps. I'm like,
Hey, Chris and I crossed the country like that. Yeah.
Well, if you had enough street,
That's
if you had
exactly
enough-
right.
If you have enough street corn, it's going to turn into an afterburner anyway.
Okay. As a person who has actually seen 200 miles an hour on my speedometer, and I can tell you that seeing, anything over 170 is pretty emotional, right? Anything over 170 miles an hour is very fucking come to Jesus. That's pretty emotional. But on those bikes, fighting for an indicated 77 miles an hour, when you know that the oil that is in them has only made 1 or 2 revolutions in the motor.
And it's still vegetable oil, so
And you're like, strangely, it's the same exact level of stress. One is 170 miles an hour, one is 70 miles an hour. And it's the exact same excitement. It's the same feeling. And this one, you're on a 12-inch wheel.
yeah. Every
And-
bump and every wiggle turns into like moving quite a bit back and
Sleepy,
forth.
every time my heart would pump.
Yeah.
My heart would pump and the bike would change its orientation slightly. Because on that bike, any movement of any part of your body changes things.
Well, that's what all these guys that are doing these like, oh, I put a 360cc thing in my Grom. And I'm
Right.
like, no. I mean, it's don't get me wrong.
Let me start with taller wheels.
Yeah.
Well, the Grom actually needs it. Those 135s don't nearly. They're good at 135.
They are. They're fine. They're good at what they do.
A Grom on its best day is like a 50, 55 mile an hour
Top speed.
vehicle. I mean,
Absolutely.
Like, it won't do 74, 75.
Yeah, there's a lot more valves hiding inside of a Benelli TNT 135. There's like extra valves, there's extra RPMs. There's like a whole extra 3,000 RPM that you don't get with a Grom, right? And that turns out that with a little tiny motor, 3,000 RPMs is a big deal. It's kind of important.
But I think if you wanted to do like the wheelie things
Yeah.
and stuff with it, you'd probably want to gear it up. So you're
There's a
gonna
whole game
lose-
for that.
You're going to lose the top end.
There's a
and-
game for
yeah.
that. There's a whole game. It's just funny to me that like you ride big motorcycles all the time. I ride big motorcycles all the time. Yet the two of us, when we're sitting next to each other at 70 miles an hour, and we could literally write on each other's gas tank with a Sharpie if we wanted to.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Because we are that locked in.
Right.
Like it's
You generally don't want to race Phil. I mean, you're okay doing something like that, but
it's
I'll follow him. I don't try to pass him.
it's an okay thing, but Sleepy and I, we were just how much more aerodynamic could a human being be?
Well, we'd have to start changing.
There's a
diet
move.
habits.
I mean, I'm too big for it, but you could have taken him. I could have coached you. If
Oh,
I,
no,
the
if you had a
slingshot.
headset, I could have got you. I could have
Sleepy
showed
and
you.
I
how
were
to do it.
drafting. We were doing some
did that,
very
too.
serious
You
drafting.
come right up on his ass, and then
My-
you hug right to his side, and then
And
you
you
get right
caress
in
him
front
real?
of him.
No.
No, at any
You
point,
steal his fucking win.
I
man.
could have reached over and grabbed his foot peg and pushed him backwards.
There you
and
go.
the best part,
That
though-
would have been easy.
Why wouldn't you just hit the kill switch though? I mean, just saying.
no, but
I love this reenactment of the.
well, and the best part was at about mile 6, like the tire mold sauce had
Yes.
finally come off.
Yes.
At that point, you could actually turn a little bit, so that was even the better point.
I
of
think
that.
it's funny that when we started the adventure, the tires weren't round.
No,
So we started this get off. We started this haul ass. The tires were crate fresh.
They still had crate dimples.
Yeah,
on
they
them.
did. They were just, and so at some point, like a while in, the turned into like smooth.
So that nitrogen got stirred up.
Yeah.
Centrofrosity.
Nitrogen. Nitrogen spread out.
I
but
love
the
this
crazy
reenactment.
part was the thing was that you forgot. So we're nailing it. We're doing 75, 76, 75, 76. But then we figured out that we could ride the
Come
red
back.
line.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could just be like, whoa, no, no,
There was-
and like you'd get that half an.
The
extra
hilarious
mile an hour
thing
or
was
something.
the rev limiter.
Yeah.
The rev limiter training. Like, did you guys deal with rev limiter training?
No.
We were so on the 10,400 RPM rev limiter. So the rev limiter is at 10,400, not 10,398, 10,400. So every time you get to 10,400, it drops you back to 10,200 or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're at 10,399.
Yeah, like just and you're just riding it.
And you're just like,
But that's a real thing when you're
Yeah.
on the small displacement bikes.
Yeah.
You can be sitting there pinned and it'll ring out and everything. You back off the throttle and wind back on. No, it doesn't. Then it's you lost. Now
you
it's gotta-
back off an eighth.
It falls on its face, and then now you've got to wait for it to climb
that's-
all the way back up.
That's how the only way we could get we both had to ride it perfectly to stay next to each other. Anybody that fucked up the half a millisecond would do the and then he packs back. And so then
Yeah.
unless they fucked up, you wouldn't get him back. But then you'd see Phil and he'd go and I'd be like and then we'd be next to each other, and it was just the whole way like that.
Well, we did the Lake Erie Loop, and I got to switch over. I started off on your buddy, and it was faltering. Maybe it wasn't. I was having a hard time, and then I switched over to that, and then that actually paired us up pretty well.
Yeah, that was doing
because you
great.
on the buddy was able to keep up with. We were able to do pretty well. I mean,
That was fun.
we were flying. We got pulled over. State trooper pulled us over. We got a call about small bikes going on the highway, and we're like, well, we're road legal. We're going.
Yeah, we weren't even doing anything
We're
wrong.
doing 65, 70 miles an hour. I don't get to it. Well, I think it was that one truck. He pulled out and we were too slow or whatever, and he called the cops on us or whatever.
But the thing is, we weren't doing under the minimum. We were doing 55, 60 in a 55. Mm-hmm. So that's what the cop ended up with. He gave us
And then he escorted, but that's the last thing we wanted. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, geez,
now we're
But that
escorting.
bike was so fucking loud, Sleepy. You with the helicopter pipe. You're so proud you got a titanium pipe off of a helicopter.
No, the space shuttle.
Oh, okay. Off the space shuttle?
I'm not kidding, man. My friend Doug, who owns this welding shop out in Warren, he's also like an artist, and he has like a whole art. He makes furniture, and it's like it goes into high end houses and shit. So he buys as much scrap metal as he can because he works in stainless steel a lot. He TIG welds.
Sure.
So in one of the scrap things was a whole thing from NASA, and it has all these tubes from all the rocket motors and shit like that.
Right.
So when I was trying to get, at the time when it came out, nobody made the mid pipe, and I needed the mid pipe to put on the D&G exhaust on it.
Which is just an open can.
Yeah, at that point. But anyways, so Doug was like, oh, I think I have something. So he goes out there and he grabs it and he's tagging and wigging and doing all the stuff. And he comes, he's like, by the way, that was from the space shuttle. And he puts it on there. I was like, fuck yeah, that's cool.
Fuck yeah, that was definitely cool.
Yeah. But now it's back to normal because I couldn't take the noise anymore. And on that bike, if you add a pipe, it doesn't really help anything.
No, I mean, because it's fuel injected and everything, and what's it really, you know what I mean? Unless you're
No, somehow the fuel injection doesn't like it and it doesn't help at all. Like you'd have to reprogram the ECU
Right,
to do anything.
yeah.
Turns out engineers can engineer pretty good when they want to engineer.
Yeah.
By the way, Mr. Swearingen, Oak and Eden, went back to the trough again, snuck back to the bar,
Right.
had my bartender pour me an extra snort of
This
Oak and
podcast
Eden.
is just getting good, man.
Into hour 3.
Oh my God! If you've hung around this long, my friends, you are truly a degenerate. You are a broken soul. Good thing we do this on Thursday night, not Friday night, when your women would be angry at you right now.
My alarm goes off at 4:45.
Last question. So if you guys like Thursdays, let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you like Thursdays.
We're trying to figure out the days, but this kind of makes sense. We think a lot more people are home on Thursdays. So if it's Thursdays, cool.
Yep.
Throw us a message through here, through the Gmails. Through
Yeah, ClevelandMoto@gmail.com. Send those messages out. We'll get back to you, I promise. Or you can actually become a Patreon. Show up sometime. If you're a Patreon member and you show up, I promise you, we will reward you with hospitality.
You're getting a hoofing.
You're going to get a hoofing. We have had
or a loofing.
Well, and Thursdays too.
Yeah.
You guys, and he's threatened a couple times. Grumpy Sewer Guy.
Believe me.
said,
You're only going to get him on a Thursday.
Cash in that check.
So.
Yeah, we got to get GSG.
Mr. Hoffert, your presence is requested in the basement of the Ratskeller. We need you here, buddy. It's been a long time. We miss you.
Well, and he's also had that problem with the drain back there. So
There is, yeah, right. Put him to work. That's it. Like the aroma of the.
Well, that is where the sump pump is back in the corner. So
what people
Isn't that something?
not yet. It's
something
gonna be plugged
special.
in.
The salubrious confines of the Ratskeller are only made better by those who imbibe and enjoy the presence here we have. This has been the best thing we ever bought, was this podcast studio.
Was this house?
Hey,
Yes.
we got direct answers
I
coming.
mean-
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah.
There you go.
BTM Productions.
wrestling,
Yeah, Thursday's good. I watch wrestling on
Well, I
Friday
mean,
night.
the entire reason you
That's nice.
that was insane.
That is crazy, man. That is like when you shout out to the universe and the universe shouts back. I looked into the void.
Well, that was the insane thing. You sent me the listing, and I'm like, Phil, I can't afford to buy a house. You said, no, this is where you're gonna live.
We already bought it. It took us 51 minutes to buy this house. We saw the basement.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of a deal breaker.
Fuck the rest of it.
Fuck the rest of it. The basement was fine. The whole top of the house, could care less about.
And I have improved upon
It has. The basement got bigger. I don't know how the fuck you did that. Without digging anything, you made the basement bigger. It's pretty
what I
cool.
do.
Yeah. What do you
Wait. There you
Brian
go.
Patrick, drink the Kool-Aid.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What's the correct number of CB350s to have? +1.
All of them.
Yeah, right.
No, at this point, 0. I'm completely happy
little
with
bit-
that.
Oh, you're yeah.
I'm
Oh,
trying to get rid
man.
of my CB350.
Just take it by skid mark and throw it out the window.
You throw it out the window at skid mark. They'll do something good with
tempting,
it.
believe me.
There's nothing better could happen to a CB350 than to become part of the MotoGo universe.
Oh yeah.
Because then that CB350 lives on for generations to come
In perpetuity.
in perpetuity. And it's doing the best thing it can is it's training future mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
Because there never are enough mechanics.
Look,
ever.
I tell people this all the time because with Becky I travel.
Sometimes there's
to,
one too many.
I travel with Becky to all these events.
Yeah.
And this is a pro tip. All these events where I'm at trucker events
Yeah,
with
right,
Cummins and
right.
International, and you've got half the merch that I get.
I was going to say, I have all their koozies.
And yeah, and every time I say the words, I'm a mechanic. I might as well be a stripper to strip club for all the fucking cards that come my way.
They're going to make it rain cards on
I'm
you,
a
baby.
mechanic. How soon can you start?
Well, a little tip from us. My wife works in the Lakewood school system. She deals with a lot of folks who are, welcome to Lakewood. We have, in Lakewood, we have a lot of Ukrainian immigrants, refugee asylum seekers, people like that. And I'm trying desperately right now to acquire a slightly underage Ukrainian boy.
I don't know if it's entirely kosher.
Oh,
but,
wait. Did that come out wrong? Did that sound weird?
I don't know, did it?
Sean, you're the litmus test here.
Okay. So if
Thin
things
ice, thin ice.
if things go well, we're gonna do our part to support Ukraine and to help ourselves to a young mechanic. So we're working really hard to help Tom and
Perfect.
to bring a
Because everybody you bring back there looks at it all and goes, "Fuck this."
It's
out."
terrifying. No, it is like to people who Sleepy was back there today.
Oh, yeah.
And Sleepy was like, God damn, Tom's doing a great job.
I did. I said, man, it looks like you guys really cleared out a lot of bikes that were in the back shop. Because I have to admit, I
Well,
haven't
now that
been
there's
back
not
there
a
for little
Japanese Shinto temple hearse back there, that's probably helpful.
Well, the first time I went back there, there was
Sometimes
like the
life
Prosecco
spills into
Ape.
business.
Yeah.
That's true. Right. We've had weird shit back there. We've had apes, we have three-wheelers, we've had hearses, all kinds of crap. But, you know, we've been so hard pressed to try to find an extra mechanic and somebody to help out with Tom because it's hard. It's really tough to do what Tom's doing as a one-man show. Because sometimes you just need another pair of eyes. Sometimes you need another pair of hands. There's a lot of stuff that you do where it's just easier to be, you know, part of a team. And, you know, we've been trying to work with, ultimately, I feel like some sense of obligation to help somebody who's displaced or help somebody who's having a rough time. And my heart goes out to people that have had that trauma, that have that going on. That's why I had to rescue Tom from New Orleans.
Yeah, it was pretty traumatic.
Now, Tom's playing it off like it's no big deal.
Oh,
bit.
no,
That
no.
gang was serious. If he walked those streets again, they were going to get him.
No.
They try all the time.
I mean, I was back.
They try all the time. He went back last week.
Oh, I was back last week, and
Yeah.
I was like, not the same. And the problem is, like, everybody my age or older that is still there is just like, wow, you got real old. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, guess what? It's just one of those things that we feel like with our shop in particular, we basically want to be a fun place for people to come and do cool shit. And if people can come and do cool shit, we can give them enough money they can live. That's great. That's the best thing in the world. Everybody's happy. It's cool. We're ready to bring somebody else in. We're ready to bring somebody else into the game.
It's. I mean, on the one hand, I'm rebuilding. You know, the half dozen. I'm finally working on old bikes again.
Right.
I didn't work on old bikes for years because there was no way to do it.
But you better be God's gift to Scooter or have an insatiable desire to fix the fuck out of anything.
That's a big thing. A big part of that is that the weird shit that we deal with.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if you feel like rebuilding a Suzuki Carry, we're going to be there with you too.
Yeah, we're going to be there with you too. That's exactly right. But don't be the guy that's fresh out of the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute who wants to be a part swapper on a Harley Davidson. Don't be the guy who wants to be a part swapper on a brand new, you know, GSXR. Right? Sometimes with what Tom has to deal with, he actually has to do what's called troubleshooting.
No.
And diagnostic and like the old school shit. Like the old school shit doesn't always jump up in your face and tell you what to do. I hate to say it.
Well,
but
like right now, I'm trying to make that final decision as to whether or not I want to put a headlight relay on a bike that shouldn't have one.
no, again, Tom's dealing with systems that are still 6 volt.
Yeah.
And half of what Tom's working on is 6 volt, and half of what he's working on is 12
I
volt.
work on everything that's from 6 volt DC powered.
I meant the same bike.
Yeah,
I meant
no,
the same
exactly.
bike. You got 6 volts and 12 volts.
Oh, yeah.
Computers living
Oh, yeah.
next to each other.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fucking bonkers.
You know, I'm going
a weird place to
literally
work.
from 1930s tech to the GTS, where we finally realized that the multimedia
Oh, my
system's
God.
not installed. And you know, that's the
I'm
thing
just
is you
trying to add to the
have
sound
this
quality.
whole thing, and if I could find somebody young
Oh yeah.
who wants to learn how to work on a 6 volt points bike, all the way up to CAD CAM freaking, you know, GTS crazy tech or the new Morinis. Those are going to be
Uncle
insane.
Fester back there sounded a little weird asking for it's got to be young or whatever. That
No,
was like,
no,
oh,
No.
hey, man, what are you
No,
doing?
the problem is I'm 50. I can't
Right.
do this for another 15 years. I'm gonna
That's
be,
the sad thing is
what it
anybody. Okay, if you're in the audience and you understand how points and condensers work, you are in the goddamn minority.
I could put together a 10-question test
Yeah.
that would pretty easily determine whether you can be a mechanic at
Fair enough.
Cleveland.
Well, the other problem though is that because Harris when he came in didn't know shit about turning wrenches, and now he's in my old place.
Yep.
He's the guy that does the stuff that I used to do in New Orleans, and whenever he would come to me with a question, I would answer it truthfully because a lot of times older guys will fuck with you, and that's what sucks. They won't give you a straight answer. They'll want you to figure it out. No, fuck you. I will tell you exactly how to fix that fucking thing.
The best thing about working on old shit is that old shit consistently, the older the shit is, it's very, very
analog. It's very knob and tube. You can see where the electricity goes by following the wire. And that's
I don't think I'd have the patience for some of the stuff that you guys have to deal
shit.
with pads and setting stuff up and like, oh no, well it did this stupid thing and now you have to reprogram it and update it this and no.
When you have the security blanket of having been trained on the old system, on the old ways, where DC meant 2 wires that went to a thing, and if one wire was present, the other wire was present, the light's going to go on.
Electrics is just plumbing.
It's just plumbing.
It is.
It's except for now. And now it's like, oh, did you know that customer put an LED taillight in his bike? And that's why the starter doesn't work?
Yeah. The system detected a different I/O.
Well, it's
the input-output
because we have run into this recently because everything is CAN bus.
And so that's the weird thing. Like today, being a motorcycle mechanic in this particular environment is very weird because you never know until you get too deep into it how much of your motorcycle is actually a computer network.
And see, I failed out of IT support. So during the W recession, I was IT support up until the recession, and then I went, "Fuck this! I can't."
I only made it as far as COBOL. So,
oh no, I hated
C plus,
computer
C plus, C plus plus. I'm fine. That's fine. But like the idea of that you cannot work on these modern vehicles unless you understand the way networks work. And that's really fucking creepy.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I got an idea to end the show on.
Please do.
Go for it.
You know how
'cause
there's
we gotta
a
get out of
distinguished
this.
gentleman's ride? Well, we have all these outfits that we like to wear, right?
Yeah.
So what if we do a DGP, a Distinguished Gentleman's Podcast, where we pick a day and we distinguishedly gentlemen our podcast, and people can play along
just
at
for
home
the
if
fucking
they
hell of
like.
it, right?
Just for the
fucking hell of it.
Yeah, we can dress up.
Just dress up fancy.
A DGP.
I gotta kill. I haven't even worn yet.
You need that $700 jacket.
Fuck that's. Oh man,
I'll
I
have
do
to
need
break
that
up the
$700.
fine shine and the silver here.
Oh my god.
Oysters Rockefeller.
Exactly.
So
I'm gonna play for that.
On that note, please remember to be distinguished, ride fast, and take chances. Play us out of here, Johnny Mac.
Bum 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 bum.
I wound up good like a clock.